Chapter 435. The 4 general managers were all elite warriors at the Transformation Void Martial stage. And next to Commander Chun, there were 2 elite warriors at the Transformation Void Martial stage. That would be equivalent to having 6 elite warriors at the Transformation Void Martial stage. Besides them, each of the 4 general managers had 4 or 5 elite warriors at the Refined Void Martial stage. Plus the other 2 warriors at the Refined Void Martial stage next to Commander Chun, the total number would not be less than 20. Of course, Bao Bao and Lone, the 2 elite warriors at the Refined Void Martial stage, were not included. Bao Bao mumbled to himself, "Good guys, 1 elite warrior at the Profound Void Martial stage, 6 at the Transformation Void Martial stage, and about 20 at the Refined Void Martial stage. There are also more than 20 at the Perfect stage. The remaining are all at the Advanced stage. For such strength, if one were to hear about it in the human countries, it would be enough to make one's entire body go limp. If such strength were to be placed in the human countries, they would be the number 1 overlord without a doubt. They would be the type of absolute authority that could not be challenged. And these powerhouses had gathered together for one mission. They were to attack a major powerhouse in one of the states in the Xian Yuan Mound. It was apparent that compared to the human countries, the strength of the Xian Yuan Mound was as different as heaven and earth. Boss, if the 100-Leaf Qin clan does not have any trump cards and only has 2 elite warriors at the Transformation Void Martial stage, then this battle would be extremely difficult. Bao Bao was speaking the truth. Even if the 100-Leaf Qin clan had the geographical advantage, if the difference in strength was too great, it would be extremely difficult to deal with this group of invading elite warriors that were like tigers and wolves. It could even be said that it would be like striking a stone with an egg. Third, as a tyrannical powerhouse that had stood at the 100-leaf state for so many years, and a local tyrannical powerhouse that holds the right to exploit the mineral resources, I would never believe that they do not have some trump card. I believe that Commander Chun and the others must have expected that the Qin clan has some trump card. I think everyone that had participated in this mission would know this. Lone also nodded. Boss is right. If they did not have some trump cards, I cannot think of any reason why the 100-Leaf Qin clan had occupied the mineral resources and not been targeted by anyone. Even if they had the protection of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan, could it be that no one had schemed against them? Certainly, they must have some trump cards. Let's play it by ear. It's too early to make any guesses. Qin Wushuang also knew that in this situation, it was useless to be anxious. They had to take one step at a time. I believe that after their meeting, everything will be settled. Inside the tent, the 3 of them did not discuss any further. They only chatted casually about some of the strange happenings in the orderly mountain prefecture. Roughly 2 hours later, General Manager Su walked out of Commander Chen's tent. As soon as he walked out, he immediately gathered all the teams. Everyone, please leave the tent. Commander Chun has something to say. Since Commander Chun had spoken, no one dared to be absent. Those who participated in this mission were mostly rogue cultivators. They did not have any backing. How could they dare to offend an expert like Commander Chun? Even if he had an unruly personality, he would not dare to act rashly. Everyone came to the open space outside Commander Chen's tent. The 4 great general managers each had a team of 20 people. Including Commander Chen's group, there were 5 people. The total number of people in this operation was only 85. Commander Chun glanced around with satisfaction and said with a smile, "I see hope in your eyes. There is no fear or hesitation in your eyes. There is only the desire to fight. What I need is your desire to fight. Everyone here is experienced, and I believe you have come in contact with matters of life and death. Thus, I will not speak any more nonsense. Before we depart, we need to set some rules. As the saying goes, without rules, nothing can be accomplished. If a team does not have rules, they will not be able to do anything. Thus, I have a few rules here. When Commander Chun said this, his eyes suddenly swept away the pleasant expression from before. Instead, they were filled with an awe-inspiring intent. He slowly glanced around again and spoke again. The first rule is that you cannot slack off, nor can you run away before the battle. For example, even if the battle is unfavorable and you need to retreat, you cannot leave the team and run away alone. They were only allowed to retreat under the orders of their respective managers. If anyone runs away without orders and disturbs the morale of the team, all the general managers have the right to execute the law. To be clear, those who violate the first rule die. Commander Chen's tone was stern and carried a wave of unquestionable authority. Although these words sounded tyrannical and the rules were somewhat tyrannical, it sounded like a golden rule when it came out from his mouth. No one would be allowed to refute it. The second rule: when everyone walks together, we will be comrades in the same trench. We will never engage in internal strife, and we will never plot against each other when we see that our friends have good equipment and weapons. If you violate this second rule, you will also face one word: death. The restriction of this rule was reasonable and allowed many people to put down one of their worries. In fact, they were somewhat restraining their fear of participating in this mission. Of course, restraining their fear of the power of the 100-Leaf Qin clan was one of the reasons. However, they were also restraining their fear of being plotted against by their friend. After Commander Chun had finished speaking these two rules, he bent down his third finger and said slowly, "The third rule: for this attack on the 100-Leaf Qin clan, everyone will use their own skills. You will receive the amount of rewards you have contributed. You must never steal other people's contributions. If you are reported for stealing other people's contributions, your personal rewards will be cancelled." To a certain extent, this rule had protected the interests of everyone participating in this mission. Naturally, this rule had received the support of most people. Inwardly, they were looking forward to this mission. After all, each of these rules appeared extremely formal. The more formal it was, the more it made people feel at ease. At this moment, Qin Wushuang could not help but feel impressed by the methods of this Commander Chun. Using both the carrot and the stick, when it was time to show his personal style, he would appear elegant and graceful. When it was time for him to be the villain, he would immediately put down his face to be the villain. Indeed, such a person was a ruthless character. This fourth rule is also the most important one. For this mission, each general manager will be in charge of their own team. When acting alone, the general manager will be the highest leader and the one who gives the orders. When the general manager gives the orders, everyone must carry it out unconditionally. As for the 4 great chiefs, they are directly under my command. The highest level of command will be given by me, the commander. Whoever disobeys, regardless of who they are, will be killed without mercy. When Commander Chun said here, he glanced across the entire scene with his eagle-like eyes. He asked with a stern voice, "Did you all hear it clearly? If you have any questions, you can ask now." The entire scene was in absolute silence, and not a single discordant voice could be heard. Commander Chun was extremely satisfied as he nodded. "Good, the rules are the rules and something our team must have. With the rules, we will act according to the rules. Next, General Manager Su, you will talk about the specific situation." Commander Chen also valued that General Manager Su highly. Among the 4 general managers, General Manager Su was the one with the most meticulous mind and the one with the most schemes. General Manager Su nodded and did not decline. He stood up and raised his voice. "Everyone, a moment ago, Commander Chun had gathered all of us to discuss the attack plan. For now, it is not appropriate to announce the specific attack plan. However, here, we can share some information with everyone. At the same time, it will allow everyone to be mentally prepared. According to the information, on the surface, the 100-Leaf Qin clan only has 2 elite warriors at the Transformation Void Martial Stage and 6 refined Void Martial Stage warriors. Of course, this is only their strength on the surface. After our discussion, we all think that the 100-Leaf Qin clan should still have some trump cards. Regardless, even if their trump cards are twice as powerful as the ones on the surface, we will still have an overwhelming advantage. General Manager Su pointed at Commander Chen, and there was obvious praise and even flattery in his tone. With Commander Chen, an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, no matter how powerful their trump cards are, they will not be a threat. For the elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage, we will also have the upper hand. As for the elite warriors at the refined void martial stage, we have many times more than the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Thus, for this battle, we will have an overwhelming advantage in terms of strength on the surface. Commander Chen nodded with satisfaction. Apparently, he was satisfied with General Manager Su's tone. Qin Wushuang listened attentively. He did not expect that these people in charge would admit that the 100-Leaf Qin clan had trump cards. However, after some thought, he understood. The more it was like this, the more they could win everyone's trust and the more it would appear that they had a card up their sleeve. Everyone, strength does not mean everything. Strength only means that under the same conditions, we will have a greater chance of winning. However, the exact outcome will depend on how we plan the attack. This time, we have many plans to attack the 100-Leaf Qin clan. You don't need to know the exact plan, you only need to know to listen to your leader. You must carry out the orders strictly. When Commander Chen heard up to here, he could not help but nod. When General Manager Su saw that Commander Chen had also nodded in agreement, he became even more confident as he said, "Everyone, victory is right in front of us. I hope everyone will be 120% focused. Remember, only by winning will you receive your rewards." Suddenly, Commander Chen laughed and took over the conversation with a light smile. "If the reward is only a bargaining chip to attract you guys, then perhaps my next promise will be enough to make you guys crazy." A promise? As soon as he said these words, almost everyone at the scene became spirited as they pricked up their ears to listen to Commander Chen's next words. Apparently, Commander Chen had already predicted everything. After a pause, he said in a clear voice, "When we break through the 100-Leaf Qin clan, we will let everyone loot the castle. Whoever finds the good stuff will get it. Besides the secret treasure vault and crystal stone mines, you are not allowed to open them. Everything else is up to you." Instantly, there was a wave of low cries from below. Commander Chen meant that he would allow everyone to loot without restraint. Indeed, this promise was like a shot of chicken blood, as it made the expression on each of these people become ferocious. The blood in their bones also started to boil. As Commander Chen had said, indeed, this promise was enough to make everyone go crazy. Since the Qin clan was so big, for sure they would have a lot of good stuff. If they looted without restraint, most likely, their harvest would be much more than the rewards. If they were lucky, they might even make a fortune. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 436. Qin Wushuang had a sharp mind. From this lofty promise, he had heard a trace of sinister intentions from Commander Chen. When he made this promise, Commander Chen did not mention that they were not allowed to rob each other, and this promise had to be made after they had breached the 100-Leaf Qin clan. After they had breached the castle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, it would not affect the general situation whether these people robbed each other, fought among themselves, or killed each other. Perhaps this Commander Chen wanted everyone to kill each other. Once they killed each other, it would be hard to avoid casualties. At that time, they could give out less rewards. Of course, although Qin Wushuang had this thought, he would not expose it. He only sat quietly in the same place and pretended to listen attentively. He did not show the slightest change in his expression. After Commander Chen had finished speaking, his eyes also scanned the surroundings. Apparently, he was observing everyone's reaction. Under Commander Chen's oppressive gaze, these people were simply unable to withstand it. None of them dared to look him in the eye. Commander Chen smiled and said, "All right, let's end it here for tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will divide the work. Everyone, go back to your tents and rest early to prepare for the battle." After the meeting had ended, everyone returned to their tents and rested. Early in the morning of the next day, this valley became lively. People from different groups walked out of their tents and strolled around the valley. Most of the people that had participated in this mission were freelance martial artists. They had the habit of waking up early to train. Thus, in twos and threes, they scattered around the valley. Following the order to gather, the team gathered again. Under the morning light, that Commander Chen appeared to have a well-thought-out plan. He looked at the direction of the 100-Leaf State leisurely. "Everyone, at this moment, the 100-Leaf Qin clan is waiting for us. For this attack, half of it is a conspiracy, and the other half is an open one. The open one is that we know that the 100-Leaf Qin clan is prepared, and they also know that we will attack. As for the conspiracy, there is a lot to learn. When to attack, how to arrange, and what strategy to use, it is all within the scope of this conspiracy. From now on, the team will still be divided into 4 teams. Each team will be led by your general manager. As for where to go and what mission to carry out, your general managers know it clearly. All you need to do is follow the general manager and carry out the tasks assigned by the general manager." After Commander Chen finished speaking, he waved his hand. "Everyone, remember the rules from yesterday. Without further ado, the 100-Leaf Qin clan has too many good things waiting for us to rob them. Let's go." Under the lead of General Manager Su, this group of people chose a route and rushed towards the 100-Leaf province. Although Qin Wushuang was still in the clouds and had not grasped the slightest bit of wind direction, he knew that this matter could not be rushed. Once he panicked, it would be easier for him to reveal his flaws. This was Commander Chen's arrangement. Everything was done in secret. Other than the experts at the level of the 4 great chiefs who knew the specific plan, the rest of the members had no way of knowing their attack strategy beforehand. To a large extent, this prevented information from being leaked. This move could not be said to be careless. Along the way, Bao Bao and Lone obeyed Qin Wushuang's orders and did not act rashly. Although he was anxious in his heart, he also knew that being anxious at this time would only reveal a flaw, which would not help the situation. After walking for a day, the team entered the 100-Leaf province in the evening of the same day. General Manager Su took out the map and nodded after looking at it for a moment. "It's this mountain. Tonight we will camp here." Again it was camping. Although being kept in the dark made all the members feel as if they had been deceived, they also knew that it was because the person in charge was afraid that there would be spies in their team that would leak the information. Such action would completely prevent the spies from having any room to perform. After they had set up camp, General Manager Su said with a smile, "Everyone, to tell you the truth, our team is the first to arrive at the 100-Leaf province. Besides, this place is only 300 or 400 miles away from the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Could be said that our team is walking on the front line." That Red Pine-honored warrior could not help but say, "General Manager Su, wouldn't it be somewhat unreasonable to let our team be the vanguard and not come with so many elite warriors?" Again, General Manager Su smiled and asked leisurely, "Red Pine-honored warrior, did I say that we are going to be the vanguard?" Red Pine-honored warrior was puzzled. "General Manager Su, since we are the first to arrive and are standing on the front line, are we not the vanguard?" General Manager Su smiled mysteriously. "Everything is arranged. The only thing I can tell you is that we are not the vanguard." However, the other elite warrior at the refined void martial stage, that gray-haired elder Mr. G, said, "It's not a good thing to be kept in the dark. Everyone is not confident. Once the battle starts, we are not mentally prepared and lack the necessary countermeasures. General Manager Su still spoke with a confident tone. Mr. G, please rest assured. Tonight, don't worry about the battle. If the battle starts tomorrow, I will inform everyone. I won't let everyone rush into battle without any mental preparation. The words of General Manager Su had made many people feel relieved. Suddenly, Qin Wushuang said, General Manager Su, there is something I don't understand. Wu Clan's eldest son, what do you have to say? The mountain where we are setting up camp is a relatively low-lying place among the surrounding mountain ranges. I see that we are surrounded by mountains on all sides. If we set up camp here, won't we be completely exposed? It doesn't seem right to set up camp here. That's right. Red Pine Honored Warrior suddenly realized, General Manager Su, the terrain on all sides is high. Why do we have to choose the shortest mountain to set up camp? Aren't we setting ourselves up as a target? If the enemy attacks us from all sides, it will be a surprise attack. This battle won't be easy for us to deal with. General Manager Su smiled faintly and looked at Qin Wushuang meaningfully. Obviously, he was somewhat dissatisfied with Qin Wushuang for pointing out this problem. However, his dissatisfaction wasn't expressed in a radical way. General Manager Su, don't just laugh. What this Wu Clan kid said makes sense. That gray-haired elder Mr. G also chimed in. At this time, the man in black next to General Manager Su said, Everyone, remember those rules. You only need to execute them. When the mission is given, you will execute it. General Manager Su is the leader of this team. You will execute the orders he gave unconditionally. Whoever disobeys will be killed without mercy. After he had finished speaking, he did not forget to emphasize, these are the rules set by Commander Chen. Qin Wushuang smiled lightly and did not defend himself. However, Bao Bao whispered, we are only making suggestions, it's different from disobeying, right? The rules say that we cannot disobey, but they didn't say that we cannot voice our opinions. Ha, this little brother is right. General Manager Su revealed an indifferent expression as if he had turned a deaf ear to their words. He flicked his sleeve lightly. Everyone, set up camp and rest well. This is the order for tonight, just execute it. After he had finished speaking, suddenly, his tone changed and became extremely strict. Whoever disobeys, kill. General Manager Su had always been gentle and refined. Currently, he was like an angry ram that had revealed his loftiness. Since he had spoken these words, of course, no one would ask for a snub and say anything more. Inwardly, they were unwilling and returned to their tents to rest. Inside the great castle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, almost all the elite warriors of the clan had gathered together. A middle-aged man sat in the great hall. He had a dignified appearance and a pair of sword-like eyebrows that extended deep into his temples. This person was the current patriarch of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, Qin Bolong. Below the patriarch sat his assistant, Qin Zhonglong, who was also Qin Bolong's twin brother. These two were also publicly recognized as the two giants of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. They were both elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage. Besides them, on the left and right, there were 6 chairs each. People were sitting on all of them. They were the 6 elders at the refined void martial stage. These 8 people had formed the backbone of the Qin family. Apparently, each of the remaining people of the Qin clan had an extraordinary identity. Since the disciples of the Qin clan were able to appear here, they held an extraordinary position in the clan. Currently, everyone's expression had a solemn expression as if they were facing a life and death situation. I just received a report from our scouts. The enemy has already arrived at the Duck Beak Mountain. They have already set up camp at the Duck Beak Mountain. The leader of this group of enemies is an elite warrior at the transformation void martial stage. Besides, there are a few elite warriors at the refined void martial stage in the group. Qin Bolong shared the information with everyone with a serious tone. Instantly, that head elder frowned. Duck Beak Mountain? Are they crazy? The Duck Beak Mountain is surrounded by the surrounding mountain ranges. Are they not afraid of being surrounded by us? However, Qin Zhonglong shook his head. This is their little trick. From my point of view, they deliberately set up camp at the Duck Beak Mountain because they did not know that they would be attacked from all sides. They surrounded us from a high vantage point. For sure, they did this because they have nothing to fear. They deliberately lured us into the trap. Unless their leader is completely brainless, who would choose to set up camp at the Duck Beak Mountain? Qin Zhonglong's analysis received the unanimous approval of the others. All those elders nodded. Patriarch Qin Bolong gave a long sigh. Zhonglong's words make sense. I am afraid they have people hiding on both sides of the Duck Beak Mountain. If we were to attack recklessly, we would fall into their trap. Speaking of this trick, it is not a brilliant one. If they think that this little trick could lure us to launch an attack, then they are underestimating the 100-leaf Qin clan too much. Qin Zhonglong nodded. Patriarch, there is the so-called saying of all is fair in war. Their actions appear to be a little trick. However, it could be a trick within a trick. A trick within a trick? The other elders all looked at Qin Zhonglong with astonishment. Qin Zhonglong explained with a serious tone. Please look, if they set up camp at the Duck Beak Mountain purely to lure us to attack, this trick appears too shallow. It's impossible that they did not know that the Qin clan could easily see through this little trick. If they knew, they would still do it deliberately. Then it's worth discussing. Most likely, it's a trick within a trick. They deliberately used the Duck Beak Mountain as a cover to attract our attention. They would make us hesitate and put us in a difficult position. Most likely, their other teams did not even set up an ambush on the two sides. Instead, they are creating a diversion to attack the other strongholds of the Qin clan. Diversion to the east and attack to the west. A sharp light flashed across the eyes of Patriarch Qin Bolong. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 437. Instantly, the idea of creating a diversion had shocked all the people of the 100-leaf Qin clan. Indeed, his words had awakened the people in their dreams. Patriarch Qin Bolong pondered for a long time before nodding his head, as if he had made up his mind on an extremely difficult decision. He said, Everyone, please wait here for a moment. Zhonglong, come with me to the back mountain. When those 6 elders of the 100-leaf Qin clan heard the words back mountain, all of them revealed a fascinated expression. They even showed some excitement. Qin Zhonglong understood and stood up. He followed behind Qin Bolong and walked out. In a moment, they had left the castle and arrived at the mountain path. Qin Zhonglong asked, Big brother, are you sure you want to disturb 9th great uncle? Zhonglong, I'm sure you're well aware of the current situation. With our current strength, even if we can fight with these flying eagles and dogs until both sides suffer, the 100-leaf Qin clan will not be able to recover from this setback. All of our foundation will be ruined. Among Qin Bolong's heavy tone, there was a form of decisiveness and determination. Apparently, he had made up his mind and decided to use the trump card of the 100-leaf Qin clan. Only by revealing this trump card would they be able to avoid this calamity. Qin Zhonglong was the number 2 figure in the 100-leaf Qin clan. His position was second only to Patriarch Qin Bolong. At the same time, he was the most intelligent person in the 100-leaf Qin clan. Naturally, he had a clear grasp of the situation. Hearing his big brother's words, he also agreed. Big brother, 9th great uncle has been in solitary training for a few dozen years. The outside world does not know the existence of 9th great uncle. 9th great uncle is not only our trump card, but also our trump card. If we can use this trump card well, it will not be a problem to defend the 100-leaf Qin clan. Most importantly, for this battle, how to reduce the losses of the Qin clan is the right way. Therefore, I will definitely support Big Brother's decision. Yes, Zhonglong, I just don't know the result of ninth great-uncle's solitary training. Although Qin Bolong had made up his mind, inwardly, he was still worried about personal gains and losses. After all, that ninth great-uncle had been in solitary training for a few dozen years and there had been no news. No one could guarantee the result of this solitary training. In between their conversation, the two brothers had already arrived near the precipice of the back mountain. The cliffs of the back mountain were very steep. The castle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan was built with the back of this cliff. Because of this reason, it appeared to be easy to defend and difficult to attack. Since the 100-Leaf Qin clan had benefited from this, they had always remained impregnable and had never suffered any serious impact. Standing in front of the cave, he looked at the stone wall outside the cave. The door was tightly shut. Qin Bolong briefly probed with his spiritual power. As soon as his spiritual power rushed out, he immediately felt a strong rebounding force. This flick caused Qin Bolong's entire dantian to tremble. However, Qin Bolong was not alarmed. Instead, he was delighted. He said to Qin Zhonglong with a heart full of joy, "Zhonglong, the rebounding force of this spiritual power prohibition spell is very strong. I sent out a strand of spirit energy, but it bounced back before it reached the entrance of the cave. The rebounding force was very fierce. It seemed that ninth great-uncle's restriction was very impressive. As long as the restriction is there, ninth great-uncle must still be in the cave." Qin Zhonglong was also very happy, and was about to say something. A clear and cold voice came from inside the cave. "Are you Bolong and Zhonglong, the two brothers?" Qin Bolong immediately answered with sincerity, "Yes, we are Bolong and Zhonglong." That cold voice stopped for a moment and congealed into a sound beam. Then, it slowly formed into a line and shot over. "Initially, when I was in solitary training, I had said that unless the family was in a life-and-death situation, no one was to disturb me. Now, a few dozen years have passed. Could it be that the family has reached a critical moment? With the power of you two brothers, you cannot hold on?" Qin Bolong said seriously, "Ninth great-uncle, the situation at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain is unclear. However, there is a bounty from the Heavenly Emperor Mountain that offered 1,000,000 gold crystal stones to gather ordinary freelance martial artists to attack the 100-Leaf Qin clan. These freelance martial artists all have their own methods when it comes to one-on-one combat. However, if it's just a group of freelance martial artists, us two brothers are not afraid. However, most likely, the one who took this mission is a famous elite warrior at the Profound Void martial stage in the Yellow Wind territory." Elite warrior at the Profound Void martial stage? Apparently, that ninth great-uncle was somewhat astonished. Although the 100-Leaf Qin clan is not the #1 powerhouse in the Yellow Wind territory, we are not a family that people can bully. In the Yellow Wind territory, someone dared to gather freelance martial artists to deal with the 100-Leaf Qin clan? Who is that person? Ninth great-uncle. That person's surname is Qin, and his name is Qin Senator. He is from the Scouring Cloud Village in the Scouring Cloud State. Qin-sun? That ninth great-uncle laughed coldly. From the Scouring Cloud Village? No wonder. If he is from the Scouring Cloud Village, I would not be surprised. However, aren't all the leaders of this Scouring Cloud Village surnamed Han? What kind of person is this Qin-sun? Ninth great-uncle, you have been in solitary training for a few dozen years and did not communicate with the outside world. However, many changes have happened in our Yellow Wind territory. Qin Bolong said with a bitter smile, 20 years ago, that Scouring Cloud Village was destroyed by a sudden wave of power. After a few years, this Qin-sun emerged and declared himself as the leader of the Scouring Cloud Village. With the identity of an elite warrior at the Profound Void martial stage, he ruled the entire Scouring Cloud state and did not have any opponent. Even across the entire Yellow Wind territory, few could be his opponent. Qin Bolong spoke about the changes in the outside world in detail. That ninth great-uncle said in a low voice, "This way, it's not strange for this Qin Sen to gather these freelance martial artists and plot against the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan. The Scouring Cloud State and the Hundred-Leaf State are only separated by a mountain. The Scouring Cloud Village is less than 1,000 miles away from the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan. This Chun guy has quite a big appetite." Qin Bolong gave a long sigh. Ninth great-uncle, although this Chun guy did not reveal his identity and organized this mission with the identity of Commander Chun, according to the information collected by the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan, the Commander Chun in charge of this mission should be that Chun Sen. Ninth great-uncle smiled coldly. "Bolong, regardless of whether it's him or not, what did the Qin ancestral teachings say? Do you two brothers still remember?" The expression of Qin Bolong and Qin Zhonglong changed at the same time as they said in a clear voice, "Yes. Those who plot against the Qin property, we will fight back with 5 times the power. Those who plot against the position of the Qin clan, we will fight back with 10 times the power. Those who want to destroy the Qin clan, we will fight back with all our power. We will not hesitate to destroy both jade and common stone." The powerful and impassioned speech, this ancestral teaching, was so familiar, so vivid. If Qin Wushuang was here, for sure, he would recognize that these ancestral teachings were exactly the same as the ancestral teachings of the Eastwood Qin clan. In fact, not a single word had been changed. And these ancestral teachings had been passed down from the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. Regardless of where the disciples of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan went, or where they established their branch, these 3 ancestral teachings were ironclad rules that would never change since ancient times. These ancestral teachings were the soul of the Qin clan. Qin Bolong and Qin Zhonglong clenched their fists tightly. The hot-blooded passion from these ancestral teachings had caused the blood of these 2 brothers to boil at the same time. The ancestral teachings of the Qin clan carried a form of courage without hesitation. It was this courage that allowed the gigantic Qin clan to stand tall in the Tianxian land for a few thousand years without falling. The voice of that ninth great-uncle had also become much more impassioned as he said seriously, "Okay, not a single word is missing. Then you should know what to do, right? Yes. You should also know my attitude, right?" Although the voice of that ninth great-uncle was calm, it carried a wave of coldness that made people tremble with fear. "Don't forget, my surname is also Qin." Inwardly, Qin Bolong was overjoyed. "Ninth great-uncle, do you plan to make a move yourself?" That ninth great-uncle said coldly. "Since an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage has appeared, you 2 brothers will not be able to deal with it. If I still stay in solitary training, the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan will be in danger." Both Qin Bolong and Qin Zhonglong were overjoyed. Qin Bolong immediately asked, "I just don't know, how did ninth great-uncle gain from this solitary training?" That ninth great-uncle laughed mischievously. There was a trace of desolation in his tone, yet there was also some pride. One only heard his cold and arrogant voice saying slowly, "This time I have been in solitary training for 30 or 50 years. If I did not gain anything, then it would not be solitary training, but closing my coffin. Although I did not achieve a breakthrough in my personal strength, perhaps in my entire life, I will not be able to break through this barrier. However, in terms of nurturing and taming spiritual beasts, I have gained a lot. My old friend, although he has not entered the profound void martial stage, I am afraid that even if you 2 joined hands, you would not be his opponent. And his 3 sons would most likely not have any opponents at the refined void martial stage." Qin Bolong and his brother were overjoyed when they heard these words. Of course, they knew that ninth great-uncle had always had a contract spiritual beast that was extremely intelligent. It had a life and death contract with ninth great-uncle. That spiritual beast was already at the refined void martial stage 200 years ago. Now, it was not strange that it had entered the transformation void martial stage. In the future, even if it had entered the profound void martial stage and was on par with ninth great-uncle, they would not feel surprised. Bolong, tell us about the situation. Ninth great-uncle was not panicked. After all, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. After Qin Bolong had finished talking about the situation, that ninth great-uncle had understood, as he said slowly. For this matter, you guys have guessed correctly. Perhaps it is a strategy to create a diversion. Of course, for such a matter of mutual deception, we must not place our bets on one side and ignore the other. Yes, Bolong has come to ask for ninth great-uncle's advice. I want to ask you to step out and see what this powerhouse of the Duck Beak Mountain is up to. If it is only a bait, we can beat them at their own game and take them out. It would also be a huge blow to the enemy. Ninth great-uncle said, For this matter, there is no need for me to take care of it. Bolong, Zhonglong, hurry and distribute your forces to strengthen the defense of each major stronghold. I will come out immediately and deal with that Chunsen myself. And for the Duck Beak Mountain, don't worry, I will send my old friend. Overjoyed, Qin Bolong and his brother immediately bid farewell. At the same time, at the camp of the Duck Beak Mountain, Qin Wushuang had gathered with two of his friends. Bao Bao and Lone were talking to each other as they discussed something. Only Qin Wushuang remained silent. Now, vividly, he had understood something. Considering the overall situation, most likely, their team camping at the Duck Beak Mountain was just a cover to attract the attention of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. If the 100-Leaf Qin clan were to send troops to attack, they would fall into the trap. And if the 100-Leaf Qin clan were to place all their attention on this Duck Beak Mountain, most likely they would fall into the trap. P.S. Sorry, I just got home from a long trip to pay a New Year's visit. I'm writing a chapter urgently. Today, I will only write this chapter, tomorrow's third watch. I will never break my promise. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 438. Boss, what's wrong? Seeing Qin Wushuang remaining silent, Bao Bao could not help but ask. Qin Wushuang regained his senses and said with a smile, You two have discussed for a long time, what's the conclusion? Bao Bao rushed to say, It's simple. I feel that although our team appeared to have run to the front line, in fact, it's most likely a pretense to attract the attention of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. It would make them feel that they could take advantage of the situation and launch an attack. Then, we would set up an ambush on both sides and lure them out. It would be better than letting them hide in the castle. Qin Wushuang turned to look at the purple flame electric beast. Second, what do you think? Lone laughed. I'm too lazy to think about it. However, third's words make sense. Boss, it seems that you don't agree with it. Bao Bao was somewhat curious. Yes, the matter is definitely not as simple as it appears on the surface. I feel that there is a deeper problem in this matter. A deeper problem? Bao Bao rolled his eyes and revealed a trace of confusion. At the same time, he seemed to be asking questions. Qin Wushuang said, If it was only to lure the 100-Leaf Qin clan out to attack, this move is too shallow. The 100-Leaf Qin clan had established their foothold in the Xian Yuan Mound. If they could not see through this little trick, then they would not have stood for thousands of years. Since the 100-Leaf Qin clan could see through it, why did they insist on doing it? It only proves that this move is not as simple as you think. Qin Wushuang thought about it and had a much deeper understanding of this matter than Bao Bao. Boss, it's not simple. In what way is it not simple? Don't keep us in suspense. A trace of a strange smile emerged from the corner of Qin Wushuang's mouth. This is not simple, it's not simple at all. The other general managers already know the whereabouts of Commander Chun. I guess that for sure, they are not lying in ambush on our left and right. On the contrary, most likely, they are rushing to each major fortress of the Qin castle and could launch an attack at any time. We are only here as a diversion tactic to confuse the eyes and ears of the 100-leaf Qin clan. To put it bluntly, it was a diversion. This place is sneaky, but in fact, there's nothing to be done about it. The real place to make a fuss is somewhere else. Bao Bao drew a breath of cold air and mumbled, "This is a vicious plan. If that's the case, wouldn't the 100-leaf Qin clan have fallen into their trap by putting all their attention here?" With a stern expression, Qin Wushuang said in a low voice, "I believe that inside the 100-leaf Qin clan, it's impossible that there is not a single knowledgeable person. As long as one was willing to use their brains, it was not difficult to analyze this possibility. Even if things didn't develop this way, they still had to be prepared to deal with such a situation. Or else, if they were to let down their guard and lose focus, the 100-leaf Qin clan would fall into a passive state when the fortress was attacked at the same time. It might even be breached in one fell swoop. This was definitely not an exaggeration, but something that was very likely to happen. However, Qin Wushuang firmly believed that the entire 100-leaf Qin clan was slow to realize the truth. While he was thinking, 3 sharp whistles suddenly came from outside the tent. Enemy attack? Instantly, Bao Bao jumped up. Qin Wushuang's expression changed. Could it be that the 100-leaf Qin clan has truly come to raid the camp? Let's go out and take a look. Lone also stood up and was about to rush out. However, Qin Wushuang pulled him back. Qin Wushuang slowly shook his head. Don't be in a rush. Third, use the underground technique to scout and see how many powerhouses the 100-leaf Qin clan has and what kind of people they are. Naturally, Bao Bao was the best at this aspect. Receiving the order, Bao Bao twisted his body and drilled out from the ground. Another 3 short whistles emerged and people from each tent poked their heads out. Those who were able to participate in this mission were all elite warriors. Under such circumstances, although they were panicking, they did not lose their composure. Qin Wushuang and Lone looked at each other and also walked out from the tent. General Manager Su led his 4 trusted subordinates and spread out in a fan-shaped formation to protect the front. As for the other forces, they each set up camp and occupied their own corners. They were not in a hurry to make their next move. Obviously, before General Manager Su gave the order, they would not act on their own. General Manager Su glanced at Qin Wushuang and Lone. Just when he was about to speak, Bao Bao drilled out from the ground and dropped before Qin Wushuang and Lone. This underground technique was not some extraordinary technique. When General Manager Su saw them, he only glared at them and did not speak a word. He only shouted through his spiritual sense, "Everyone be careful, someone is raiding the camp." Everyone was on full alert. Don't lose your life here before you have even entered the Qin castle. While General Manager Su sent his spiritual sense, he also observed all movements in the surroundings. "Boss, it seems that there are not many enemies." Bao Bao sent his spiritual sense to Qin Wushuang. Qin Wushuang was overjoyed inwardly when he heard his words. The fewer people that came from the 100-leaf Qin clan, the happier he would be. At least, it meant that the 100-leaf Qin clan had not fallen into the trap. Be careful, remember, self-preservation is the most important thing. Qin Wushuang instructed. All 3 of them nodded tacitly and formed a defensive formation. This formation was the best for self-preservation. Haha, 1, 2, 3. A total of 20. In the sky, a strange voice emerged out of nowhere. When this voice came out of nowhere, it made one's hair stand on end. 20 children, eat to your heart's content. This is a feast delivered to your door. That voice was cold and did not carry a trace of human emotion. Roar! Great Father, let us take care of it. Ha ha, this feast is truly delicious. Great Father, I will take the lead. Don't be hasty. That voice from earlier said indifferently, let me take care of that middle-aged man in luxurious clothing. You guys take care of the rest. Of course, the middle-aged man mentioned by this voice was General Manager Sue. General Manager Sue gave a cold sneer and made a hand gesture to motion everyone to pay attention. Suddenly, 4 bursts of lights shot out from the ground. Among these lights, one of them was extremely powerful. Although the other 3 were relatively weaker, they also possessed a threatening aura. When these 4 bursts of lights congealed together, instantly, it had intimidated the entire sky and caused it to become dim. Inwardly, General Manager Sue was also shocked as he shouted, Elite warriors at the refined void martial stage are in charge of dealing with those 3 little ones. Those at the perfect stage coordinate with the outside. Advanced stage warriors retreat to the outermost area. As soon as General Manager Sue gave the order, the 2 trusted aides next to him, who were elite warriors at the refined void martial stage, joined forces with the Red Pine honored warrior and the other 2 freelance martial artists. Instantly, they formed a circle. General Manager Sue waved his hand and a blue and white long sword appeared in his hand. He locked onto those 4 bursts of lights from afar. When those 4 bursts of lights withdrew, 4 people dressed strangely and filled with wildness stood there. One of them had a gigantic body and had a spiral hairstyle on top of his head. He had wrapped it with a few rattan branches and appeared extremely wild. However, when he looked around, he appeared awe-inspiring. Next to this person stood 3 people. All of them appeared much younger than that person with the spiral hairstyle. Children, make your move. That person with the spiral hairstyle laughed. He swung his hand and grabbed a giant Xian Hua axe out of the sky. With a casual swing of the axe, it was like the cutting edge of death. Rays of light shot out from the edge of the axe. Eat my 3 axe strikes. The speed of this giant guy that looked like an iron tower was unimaginably fast. With a slight sway of his body, he had arrived before General Manager Sue instantly like a shooting star. General Manager Sue was shocked. He pulled the long sword in his hand and rolled it up. Immediately, 3 sword shields were formed. One after another, they went up to meet the attack. Clang! 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 With a crisp cracking sound, the blade light at the tip of the axe sliced the air current shield and instantly exploded. It was like a bomb exploding in the air. The impact from this explosion formed a gigantic shockwave that spread out in all directions. It made the people in the surrounding feel as if they were in a frenzied wave as their bodies swayed like lotus leaves in the violent wind. Ha ha ha, good kid, you can take my 3 axe strikes. Then let's have a taste of something even more powerful. That giant guy gave a mad roar and the giant axe in his hand was like an embroidery needle. When he waved it in his hand, it was full of ingenuity. 1 axe strike after another at an unparalleled speed. Even if that General Manager Sue was using a sword, he could only barely keep up with that giant guy in terms of speed. Apparently, the 3 people behind that giant guy were his sons. All of them cried out, "Father, leave the rest to us." As they spoke, these 3 people lifted their bodies and turned into rays of light in the sky. Then, they pounced towards the direction of Chi Song and the others. These 3 brothers also used heavy weapons. If it was not an axe, it would be a wolf-tooth club or a golden melon hammer. As soon as this imposing manner pressed down, although Chi Song and the others had the advantage, they did not dare to neglect or underestimate the enemy. The 5 of them quickly reduced their defensive area and kept moving closer to each other to form a small circle. Together, they formed a defensive circle to catch those 3 waves of impact. Qin Wushuang and the other perfect stage spiritual martial force were cruising on the outside. Besides Qin Wushuang, everyone else realized that most likely, this battle was related to their lives. If they were not careful, most likely they would fall here. Thus, each of them revealed a solemn expression and did not dare to let down their guard. Although Bao Bao and Lone were at the refined void martial stage, They had always concealed their strength and never exposed their true form as beasts. When they signed up, they only signed up as advanced stage warriors. Thus, at this moment, they were standing on the safest outside. Everyone, listen well, this is a battle between elite warriors at the void martial stage. Initially, us at the spiritual martial force could not participate. However, this is a matter of great importance. Everyone, listen to my orders and attack at any time. Remember, to attack, you must gather your power and attack one of them together. For those three, as long as one of them is killed, the formation of the other two will be completely disrupted. Then, we will break them one by one. Yes. All the perfect stage warriors answered in unison. Although Qin Wushuang spoke half-heartedly, inwardly, he held the thought of not putting in any effort. He was prepared to feign civility and act according to the situation. This is the first update. I recommend this book. Title: The Reborn Life of a Petty Bourgeois. Author: Wu Yao. 998. Book number 1724352. Advertising slogan: Reborn Struggle Novel. Milky Way readers, Wu Yao's masterpiece. Welcome everyone from the Milky Way to support. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 439. Although the 100-Leaf Qin clan only had 4 fresh soldiers, these 4 were all abnormally fierce people. And their way of fighting was extremely valiant, as if they did not fear death. The most terrifying part was that their attacks and defense had a form of valiance that had surpassed their own stage. At this moment, General Manager Su had the most intense experience. When facing the attack from that giant guy, with his strength at the transformation void martial stage, he could not find any opportunity to counterattack. Instead, he could only hold on with all his strength. Inwardly, General Manager Su was also complaining incessantly. In fact, their team had received orders to set up camp here to attract attention. From the estimation of Commander Chen and the 4 general managers, the 100-Leaf Qin clan should not have come to attack. Unexpectedly, as soon as they had started to plan, they were caught off guard by the 100-Leaf Qin clan's attack. In fact, they had entered deep into the enemy territory alone. They were here to attract attention and cover for the other powerhouses to attack the 100-Leaf Qin clan. At this critical juncture, it was impossible for the other powerhouses to come to their aid. Of course, General Manager Su was struggling. On the side of the Red Pine Honored Warrior, the 5 elite warriors at the refined void martial stage could only defend themselves when attacked by 3 of the enemy's elite warriors. They could not find any opportunity to counterattack. Despite this fact, they were still panting heavily from the attacks of those 3 brothers and were exhausted. Red Pine Honored Warrior was extremely anxious as he cried out, "General Manager Su, where are the other powerhouses? We are being attacked from the front and they are not making any movements from the 2 wings?" Inwardly, General Manager Su was furious. Inwardly, he cursed that these freelance martial artists would always be freelance martial artists as they had no discipline. It would have been better if he had not asked this question. Once he had asked, it would have exposed his plan. Now, he only hoped that Commander Chen would launch an attack quickly. He would launch a sneak attack and catch the 100-Leaf Qin clan off guard. Or else, even if they had 20 people, they would suffer a great loss under the attack of these 4 elite warriors. Only when the attack on the 100-Leaf Qin clan had started, these 4 would have to retreat quickly to help them out. Qin Wushuang had already understood the situation as he observed from the side. He also shouted, "General Manager Su, the enemy is ferocious. Let's retreat quickly." Qin Wushuang's shout naturally had an ulterior motive. It was to bewitch the soldiers' morale. After shouting, he continued, "Since there are no reinforcements on either side, it is taboo for us to be stationed here alone. Manager Su, if we don't retreat now, none of the 20 of us will be able to leave. Chief Steward Su's lungs were about to explode. If he could split his hands and feet at this moment, the first thing he would do would be to eliminate this Wu clan's eldest son. Saying such words at this time, isn't it disrupting the morale of the army? In the worst case, it might even affect the general situation of attacking the 100-Leaf Qin clan's castle. The other 2 trusted aides of General Manager Su were among the perfect stage. They glared at Qin Wushuang and shouted, "You with the surname Wu, can you stop yelling?" If he was afraid of death, he shouldn't have signed up. Once he signed up, he had to obey orders. Commander Chen had set 4 rules. The first one was that no one was allowed to run away or slack off. Or else you will be killed without mercy. Qin Wushuang deliberately sneered. Am I running away? I am only giving a suggestion. I don't want to lose everyone's lives because of the idiocy of the decision maker. Isn't that right? Qin Wushuang's words had resonated with many people. Those freelance martial artists at the perfect stage all looked at him with doubt. Obviously, they had also realized something, and smacked their lips to create a different flavor. Most likely, they had set up camp at this conspicuous Duck Beak Mountain to act as bait and cover? There were no reinforcements left or right. Could this still be called a group operation? It was clear that they were marching in alone. To put it bluntly, they were sending themselves to death. That giant guy with the iron tower of the 100-Leaf Qin clan waved his giant axe and swept away General Manager Su. He laughed. You motley crew dare to target the 100-Leaf Qin clan? Are you already fighting among yourselves before the battle has even started? This giant guy knew how to attack people's minds. While he did not slow down with the giant axe in his hand, he shouted, "Listen well, it's not too late to back off now. When I take care of this Su guy, don't even think about leaving." He was trying to break the morale of the army. Combined with his crazy giant axe attack, his words had appeared even more persuasive. While that General Manager Su dealt with him, he asked, "You are not someone from the 100-Leaf Qin clan?" That giant guy laughed proudly. "I am not from the 100-Leaf Qin clan? Could you be? You don't even know the background of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, and you want to deal with them?" Although this giant guy also had the strength of the transformation void martial stage, the power of his attacks had reached a level that General Manager Su could not reach. In fact, General Manager Su was more anxious than anyone else. He knew that if he continued to hold on, sooner or later he would be defeated by this giant guy. At this moment, 300 or 400 miles away from the castle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, a burst of powerful air bombardment came from afar. Although he was a few hundred miles away, he could still feel the power of this vibration clearly. Next, the rumbling sound of the air explosion continued to ring next to his ears. "Those who are after my Qin property, I will fight back with 5 times the power. Those who are after my Qin status, I will fight back with 10 times the power. Those who want to destroy my Qin clan, I will fight back with all my power. I will not hesitate to burn both jade and common stone." In the sky, a cold voice resounded through a few hundred miles of land at a moderate speed. Although the 100-Leaf Qin clan is only a branch of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan, we view the bloodline of the Qin clan as our pride. We swear to defend the dignity of the Qin clan with our lives. Today, those who dare to offend the 100-Leaf Qin clan, I will kill you without mercy. This voice did not carry that kind of sharp and angry rebuke. However, it had conveyed a form of unquestionable dignity. As soon as General Manager Su heard this voice, his expression changed instantly. Countless thoughts flashed across his mind. Indeed, the 100-Leaf Qin clan has many trump cards. This voice could travel a few hundred miles at such speed. He knew that he could not achieve such power. In terms of sending the voice a few hundred miles away, even elite warriors at the perfect stage would be able to do it. However, that kind of transmission could only be achieved by activating the spiritual qi endlessly. At this moment, this voice did not seem to be in a rush. Apparently, he had only spoken a few simple words and did not use the spiritual chi deliberately. To be able to pass through the obstruction of the surrounding mountains and teleport here, this was power. An absolute power that no one could doubt. Profound void martial stage. Instantly, this thought emerged in General Manager Su's mind. When he thought here, he immediately understood that this attack on the 100-leaf Qin clan would not be as easy as he had imagined. Even if Commander Chun were to step out, it would be a tough battle. If the situation were to develop that way, no one would be able to come to their aid. General Manager Su glanced at him coldly and saw that the face of the guy with the iron tower was full of confidence. He did not show any intention to stop his attack. He knew that he was not worried about the safety of the 100-leaf Qin clan. From this point, he could infer that the 100-leaf Qin clan had already seen through his diversion tactic and had made a timely deployment. When that guy saw General Manager Su retreating in defeat, he laughed. "Su, give me your life." General Manager Su made a prompt decision and dashed to the sky at a high speed. He shouted, "Everyone retreat, do not linger." It seemed that Qin Wushuang had expected this order. He raised his head and saw that General Manager Su had already dashed to the sky. With a flash of sword light, he rode on that sword light to escape. Naturally, this General Manager Su had mastered the flying sword technique. Thus, his speed was fast. As soon as he had given the order, he could escape with a whoosh. However, those elite warriors at the refined void martial stage did not have it easy. At the refined void martial stage, they could only refine their appearance and could not fly in the sky. This difference had made their situation extremely difficult. Under the attack of those three brothers, they kept retreating in defeat. Those advanced stage warriors on the outside scattered and escaped first. As soon as Qin Wushuang made a hand gesture, Bao Bao and Lone shot out. They also mixed in with that group of advanced stage warriors and pretended to run for their lives. "Ah! You plotted, how is it possible?" In a moment, Bao Bao and Lone had killed 3 or 4 fleeing advanced stage warriors without a sound. In a few moves, he had killed all the advanced stage warriors that had escaped. Among this group of 20 people, besides General Manager Su, who was at the Transformation Void Martial stage, the other 5 were at the Refined Void Martial stage. 6 of them were at the Perfect stage and 8 were at the Advanced stage. Among the 8 advanced stage warriors, 2 of them were disguised by Bao Bao and Lone. Thus, the remaining 6 advanced stage warriors had lost their lives without a sound when they were ambushed by Bao Bao and Lone. Currently, the 6 perfect stage warriors were also running for their lives in a hurry. They did not pay attention to what was ahead of them. Qin Wushuang mixed in with the group of perfect stage warriors. Suddenly, Bao Bao and Lone rushed out from the dense forest almost at the same time. "Everyone stop, there is an ambush ahead, an ambush!" Those perfect stage warriors all stopped with suspicion. Apparently, they were also somewhat surprised when they saw Bao Bao and Lone's sorry state. They did not suspect these 2 at all. What kind of ambush is ahead? Qin Wushuang walked up at the right time. Bao Bao scuttled over with a face full of fear. "Boss, let's change direction." Us advanced stage warriors had rushed in. Only us 2 brothers were lucky enough to run a little slower. The rest of the people are all dead. All dead? Qin Wushuang also pretended to be stunned. Lone immediately said, "Not a single one was left alive." Qin Wushuang said in a low voice, "Then let's retreat in another direction. Everyone, us 3 brothers do not care how you go. You should not interfere with where we go." Qin Wushuang deliberately said to those 5 perfect stage warriors. Those 5 looked at each other and apparently they were also conflicted. While they were hesitating, Bao Bao and Lone exchanged a glance. Almost at the same time, the 2 of them rushed towards the 2 elite warriors closest to them. Almost without any accident, These two fell to the ground at the same time. Bao Bao and Lone had taken their lives. This sudden change of events made those three remaining perfect stage warriors dumbstruck. Before they could react, they only sensed the danger instinctively and dashed forward. Qin Wushuang narrowed his eyes and held the graceful spiritual bow in his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He shot out 3 arrows at the same time. An unprecedented level of control, an unprecedented level of might. Qin Wushuang shot these 3 arrows from his heart, and instantly, they had reached the peak. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 440. After Qin Wushuang had entered the perfect stage of the spiritual martial force, he did not deliberately aim for the next stage or the void martial force. The more homework he did, the more effort he put into improving his combat skills and perfecting his move. During this time, Qin Wushuang had not only integrated the hegemon breaking formation spear well, he had also strengthened the integration with the graceful spiritual bow. Currently, compared to when he had first acquired the graceful spiritual bow, regardless of stage or power, Qin Wushuang could not be mentioned in the same breath. Initially, he had to use a lot of effort to deal with Devil Boy. At that time, he had just used the graceful spiritual bow and could not unleash even half of its power. After a few years of accumulation, along with the rise of his own strength and the continuous integration with the graceful spiritual bow, his control over the graceful spiritual bow had also increased tremendously. He could already unleash close to 30% of the graceful spiritual bow's power. How could he underestimate the power of 3 arrows shot together? Although those 3 had escaped at a fast speed, the jade-green arrows shot out by Qin Wushuang's graceful spiritual bow were 10 times faster than their escape speed. 3 jade-green arrows, like green elves of death, directly pierced into the backs of the 3 men. Pop! With 3 consecutive piercing sounds, that green light suddenly swelled inside the bodies of those 3. Suddenly, the 3 bodies were like balloons that had been blown up or like inflated toad. Their entire bodies had become deformed. Next, a violent explosion resounded through the sky. The 3 rapidly expanding bodies had expanded to a certain extreme and exploded with a loud boom, boom. Instantly, the violent explosion had collapsed half of the entire forest. On the other side, 8 elite warriors at the refined void martial stage were engaged in an endless battle. It was not that Red Pine honored warrior and his friends did not want to escape. However, the fighting style of those 3 brothers was too swift and fierce. They did not give them any chance to escape. With the slightest carelessness, most likely those 3 would seize the opportunity. Qin Wushuang returned quickly with Bao Bao and Lone. He looked around. Boss of the Wu family, what are you guys doing back here? With his sharp eyes, that Mr. Ji saw Qin Wushuang and his friends who had returned. Qin Wushuang still had a face full of panic as he cried out, "Mr. Ji, hurry and take care of these 3 guys, there is an ambush ahead." Instantly, the expression on Mr. Ji's old face changed as he called out to Red Pine honored warrior, "Senior Red Pine, the general is useless and exhausted the army. We have been delayed." Red Pine honored warrior was also unspeakably bitter as hell as he cried out, "Head supervisor, he is an idiot. He ran away first and left us here to suffer. I'm not fighting anymore. Retreat." "Hee, it's too late to retreat now." The 3 brothers laughed sinisterly. "Brothers, it's time." Red Pine honored warrior said honored warrior. Red Pine honored warrior warrior. Red Pine honored warrior. Red Pine honored master. However, Mr. G called out, "Red Pine honored warrior, come closer to me. At this time, we cannot show off our abilities. We must work together and get through this obstacle." Red Pine venerable cursed, brothers of the Wu clan, why the F***ck are you guys standing there like idiots? Go inform Commander Chun and the others to come and help. Qin Wushuang narrowed his eyes into a line and smiled lightly. Red Pine honored warrior, don't worry, I will go now. Go, go. While he was speaking, suddenly, a flash appeared before Red Pine honored warrior. A wave of green light pierced through the sky from afar and went straight to his dantian with the power to pierce through the sky. What is this? Red Pine honored warrior did not react. Suddenly, Bao Bao and Lone unleashed their power from his back and attacked from left and right. Red Pine honored warrior never expected that the Wu brothers from the same camp would attack him. And the power of this attack was not the advanced stage they had shown before. Instead, it was the refined void martial stage that was even more powerful than them. Impossible! Red Pine honored warrior roared in despair. Facing enemies from all sides, he did not know where to hide. Instantly, Bao Bao smashed him from the back and smashed him into a pile of meat paste. Even his dantian had been shattered. Bao Bao and Lone unleashed their ferocious nature. Together, they attacked the other target. At this time, the power of Qin Wushuang's and Lone honored warriors' combined fighting style was revealed after a long period of cooperation. Almost at the same time when Bao Bao and Lone attacked together, Qin Wushuang's second arrow also arrived like a shadow. This kind of long-range attack coupled with close-range combat was the most difficult to defend against. Almost like a set pattern, instantly, another one was taken out. This way, not only was General Manager Su dumbstruck, even those three brothers were somewhat surprised. However, their brains were not slow as they immediately understood that these three people who had appeared out of nowhere were on their side. Since Qin Wushuang had taken out two of them without warning, the refined void martial stage warriors from General Manager Su's camp no longer had any advantage in numbers. Instantly, they had fallen into a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Initially, even with the advantage in numbers, they were still retreating in defeat. Now, the defense system of the five of them had been disrupted. Naturally, they were in an even worse state. Another one was taken out by the joint attack of those three brothers. The remaining two were like candles in the wind as they were attacked by the two powerhouses. It was only a matter of time before they died. Almost in a moment, both of them had lost their lives. Bao Bao picked up Qin Wushuang's 3 jade-green arrows and presented them to Qin Wushuang. Qin Wushuang withdrew his smile and cupped his hands in a salute to those three. You three, may I ask what position you hold in the 100-leaf Qin clan? Although the attitude of those three was somewhat arrogant, they did not show much hostility. They sized Qin Wushuang and his friends from head to toe. Apparently, they were still on guard. Although Qin Wushuang and his friends had helped the three of them to take out those 5 tough guys, their father had already warned them that humans were cunning. They would do anything to achieve their goals. Perhaps this was a ploy. What kind of trash are you three? 3 against 3, 6 pairs of eyes sized each other up. All of them were full of vigilance. Those three were afraid that Qin Wushuang and his friends would attack them violently. On the other hand, Qin Wushuang was also on guard against the other party's indiscriminate attacks. Bao Bao came over and said, "Boss, a moment ago I used my spiritual perception to sense them. I could sense the presence of the Beast Clan from their bodies. This is the unique sensing power of the Beast Clan. I am sure that they are not disciples of the 100-leaf Qin clan, but the Beast Clan. Vacuum refinement is the same as us." Qin Wushuang was slightly surprised as he sized those three across from him. You three, the three of us do not have bad intentions. Humph, without any proof, who would trust you guys? Bao Bao said angrily. If we had bad intentions, how could we have helped you guys take out those 5? Instead of helping them kill you guys? GMO was a little angry as well. He added, that's right. Although the 3 of you are powerful, to be honest, if the 3 of us help the 5 of them with all our strength, what do you think the situation will be like? Those three looked at each other in dismay after hearing their words. They also felt that the other party's words made sense. If these three did not help them and helped those five to deal with the three of them, the situation would have been reversed. Especially that young man, he held a spiritual bow that had a tyrannical power. Such long-distance attack would be terrifying. Bao Bao said angrily, "What would have happened? I am sure that if the three of us had helped Red Pine Honored Warrior and his friends, the ones lying here would have been the three of them." The corners of the three people's mouths carried a hint of a fake smile, and they didn't show much gratitude. Instead, they lazily called out, "Although you've helped us three brothers, who can guarantee that you don't have any bad intentions?" Bao Bao said angrily, "It's fine if you don't know how to be grateful, but don't frame good people. My boss had come from thousands of miles away to help." Thousands of miles away? At this time, suddenly, a wave of spiritual light shot down from the sky. That iron tower-like guy dropped from the sky. He looked at Qin Wushuang and his friends with a face full of confusion. "Great Father, did you catch that guy?" Those three brothers went up to surround him. That iron tower-like guy said with a somewhat depressed tone. That guy did not hesitate to initiate the spiritual qi from his dantian to the limit. He did not hesitate to get hurt and ran away at full speed. I did not want to get hurt needlessly. Thus, I did not initiate my dantian to the limit and that guy got away. Oh. There was some regret in the tone of those three brothers. However, don't worry, that guy will not recover in less than half a year after initiating his dantian to the limit. This time, for sure, he will not get involved. When that iron tower-like guy said here, he looked at Qin Wushuang and his friends and asked, "What is going on with these three? Weren't they in cahoots with that Su guy?" Those three brothers immediately said, "These three are strange. Great Father, I am worried that they are playing tricks and trying to deceive us." That iron tower-like guy waved his hand to stop their discussion. He took a step forward and said to Qin Wushuang, "Young man, you said you came from thousands of miles away. Where did you come from?" "Don't worry about where we came from. It's not the first time our boss helped the 100-Leaf Qin clan. A few days ago, someone called Qin Guan from the 100-Leaf Qin clan ran away with an injured sister. It was our boss who showed mercy. Not only did he save the siblings, he also gave them healing medicine." "Young man, what is your surname?" As that iron tower-like guy looked at Qin Wushuang, he always felt that between the brows of this young man, there was a familiar heroic spirit. "My surname is Qin." Since there was no one around, naturally, Qin Wushuang did not need to hide his identity. "Qin?" That iron tower-like guy was moved. "Could it be you are from the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan?" Qin Wushuang shook his head. "No, I do not belong to any branch of the Qin clan in the Xian Yuan Mound. However, in my body, the genuine bloodline of the Qin clan flows in my veins. The Qin clan is of the same breath and branch. Since the 100-Leaf Qin clan is in trouble, I could not just sit and watch. That Commander Chen used a diversionary tactic and let these people act as a cover. I only hope that the 100-Leaf Qin clan can resist the attack of their main force." That iron tower-like guy laughed. "You can rest assured. The 100-Leaf Qin clan is impregnable. Unless they have an elite warrior at the perfect void martial stage, or else, they would need to think twice before breaking the 100-Leaf Qin clan." Qin Wushuang was moved. From his tone, indeed, the 100-Leaf Qin clan had a trump card. And most likely, this trump card was an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage. This is the end of today's third watch. It seems that this month's monthly votes are in jeopardy. However, I still want to make a dash. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 441. If the 100-Leaf Qin clan also had elite warriors at the profound void martial stage, Then they would have the capital to win this battle. Just when Qin Wushuang was about to speak, that guy with the iron tower glanced at Qin Wushuang with a sharp gaze. Suddenly, he said, "Young man, although I believe 70 to 80% of you claiming to be a disciple of the Qin clan, you need to bring out more convincing evidence to win the trust of the entire 100-leaf Qin clan." Qin Wushuang raised his hand and threw out an identity jade plate. The tower-like man casually grabbed it and took it into his hand. When he fixed his eyes on it, his expression instantly changed. Clearly, the way he looked at Qin Wushuang had changed. This identity jade plate was left behind by the ancestor of the Eastwood Qin clan. It was equivalent to the identity jade plate of a core disciple of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Thus, when this guy with the iron tower saw it, he could not help but be intimidated by Qin Wushuang's jade plate. Heavenly Emperor Qin clan? There was some disbelief in his eyes. Don't misunderstand, this is the identity jade plate left behind by my ancestor. Qin Wushuang's explanation allowed the other party to regain his composure. With a smile, the burly man patted his chest and said, "Just like your two companions, I'm also a beast man, haha. This time, I came to this Duck-Beak Mountain to probe the depth of the enemy. I didn't expect it to be a lone army. I saw that I could handle it, so I made my move. Haha, this time, it's all thanks to you guys hiding among the enemy. Or else, it would have been difficult to kill them all. It's a pity that Su Guy escaped. Come, children, let's get to know each other." That guy with the iron tower waved his hand and his 3 children all came over. After the transformation, these 3 guys had almost the same appearance. It was easy to recognize that they were 3 brothers. That guy with the iron tower said, "Brother Qin, you can call me Tai Hong. These 3 are my children. Among the refined void martial stage, their combat power is at the top." Qin Wushuang said with a smile, "I've already experienced this. If it weren't for the power of these 3 big brothers, I am afraid the battle would not have ended so easily with the 3 of them restraining 5 refined void martial stage warriors." Tai Hong was very excited and nodded. "That's right. Brother Qin, the battle has already started at the castle of the 100-leaf Qin clan. Let's go together. With the addition of our fresh troops, we can catch them off guard." Qin Wushuang pondered for a moment and said, "Senior Tai Hong, you should go back first. I plan to continue hiding and infiltrate the enemy again. Aren't you afraid that the other party will be suspicious if you infiltrate after the defeat here?" Tai Hong's tone was a little worried. It was obvious that he did not approve of Qin Wushuang's plan to continue hiding. Qin Wushuang insisted, "Nothing ventured, nothing gained." Although General Manager Su's troops were almost completely annihilated, Commander Chen still had a large number of experts under him. "In terms of absolute strength, I still have the upper hand. 1 elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, not counting General Manager Su, they still have 5 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage. As for the refined void martial stage, they have a dozen. Senior Tai Hong, hurry back to help and report the strength of this side. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle." When Qin Wushuang said here, he turned to Bao Bao and said, "Third, go back to the castle with Senior Tai Hong and take care of the situation." Bao Bao said hesitantly, "Boss, then you, don't worry about me. When I go back with second, they will not be suspicious for a while. As long as we release some wrong information to them, we can use our plan to inflict heavy losses on them." Excitement also flashed in Tai Hong's eyes as he nodded. "If we can coordinate with them from the inside, perhaps we can give them a big surprise. As long as we can kill a portion of the enemy's elite warriors, we will have the chance to reduce the consumption of this battle to the minimum and achieve an easy victory." Qin Wushuang cupped his hands in a salute. "Please go back quickly, Senior Tai Hong. Wait for contact." "Okay, Brother Qin, I will wait for your news." Bao Bao received the order and returned with Tai Hong and the others. At this moment, outside the Qin castle, the other three general managers had already led their teams to launch a surprise attack on the Qin fortress. Initially, they had planned to launch a surprise attack. Unexpectedly, the 100-Leaf Qin clan had already set up all the defenses and were waiting for them to attack. Since the 100-Leaf Qin clan was prepared, their surprise attack plan had failed. When Tai Hong and his group of fresh troops had returned, the pressure on the 100-Leaf Qin clan had been greatly reduced. It was equivalent to having 3 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage. And there were 9 elite warriors at the refined void martial stage. This did not include Bao Bao, the hidden figure. Their plan to launch a surprise attack had been severely hindered. The 3 general managers realized that the defense of the 100-Leaf Qin clan had indeed exceeded their imagination. Especially the formation set up by the 100-Leaf Qin clan outside the fortress, it would greatly weaken their strength. Outside the fortress, it was 3 to 5 times more difficult for elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage to fly in the sky. Although these guys had not experienced hundreds of battles, they immediately knew that a gravitational formation had been set up around the fortress. This gravitational formation was a technique of the Earth attribute. For this formation, it could be big or small. Perhaps it would be a simple gravitational technique when used on an individual. However, if it was set up as a formation, it could be a majestic formation with great power. When the formation above the fortress was activated, it had greatly weakened the advantage of the transformation void martial stage warriors in the sky. The most terrifying part was that the 100-Leaf Qin clan's ability to fly in the sky was not restricted by the formation outside the fortress. Thus, even if they were to break through the formation by force, they would be easily beaten by the enemy if they were to enter recklessly. After a long and fruitless battle, these 3 general managers made a prompt decision to cancel the attack and retreat 100 miles. They set up camp and awaited Commander Chen's next orders. That Commander Chen Sen was one of the few elite warriors at the profound void martial stage in the Orderly Mountain Prefecture. However, this time they had met their match. Qin Shing, the 9th great-uncle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, was also an extremely powerful elite warrior at the profound void martial stage. Although he could not break into the perfect void martial stage after a few dozen years of solitary training, he rarely had any opponents at the profound void martial stage. Thus, after fighting with that Chen Sen for half a day, no one could gain the upper hand. For this battle, they fought from night to dawn and from dawn to noon. It was still a draw. Initially, Qin Shing thought that at the level of the profound void martial stage, he would have a great chance of winning. However, he did not expect that although this Chen Sen had emerged in recent decades, his subordinates were very tough. He could not gain any advantage. After a long battle, Qin Shing had the intention to stop the battle as he was concerned about the general situation of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Coincidentally, that Chen Sen also knew that he could not win against this Qin elite warrior that had suddenly emerged. Thus, he had the same thought as Qin Shing and planned to take a step back first. Thinking this way, both parties only made a few probing moves and retreated with tacit understanding. When Chen Sen returned to the camp, those 3 general managers came up to greet him. The 4 trusted aides that Chen Sen had brought also came up to greet him. "Commander Chen, how did it go?" Chen Sen waved his hand. "Let's talk inside the main tent." When he asked about the battle situation, those 3 general managers all went up to talk about the details. When Chen Sen heard their words, he said with a cautious tone, "This time, not only did we underestimate the strength of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, we also underestimated their judgment. Apparently, they had seen through our first plan. The 100-Leaf Qin clan had already made arrangements. Or else, it would have been impossible for us to fail to take down a single fortress. Commander Chen, it's mainly because of the disgusting gravitational formation before those 3 major fortresses. This gravitational formation made us, the transformation void martial stage martial artists, unable to unleash our advantage in the air. And their elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage would not be affected. They would be waiting for us to exhaust ourselves. Thus, we did not dare to charge in recklessly. Chen Xin said in a low voice. Indeed, the 100-Leaf Qin clan has some tricks up their sleeves. You guys were right not to go in. Once you had gone in, most likely, there would be some traps. For today's battle, although we did not lose, we did not achieve our goal. In terms of sharpness, we had lost some. Commander Chen, that 100-Leaf Qin clan also has an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage? Usually, in a state, a transformation void martial stage martial artist is already impressive. Among the powerhouses of the state, there are very few at the profound void martial stage. One of the general managers of the He clan said with some frustration. It seems that the 100-Leaf Qin clan had truly received a lot of benefits from the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. Or else, with their foundation, how could they have an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage? There was also a trace of depression in Commander Chen's tone. Let's stop here for today. Give the order to retreat 300 miles and regroup with General Manager Su. We will set up camp again. Okay. While they were talking, the curtain of the tent was opened and a person walked in from the outside. It was one of Commander Chen's trusted aides at the refined void martial stage. He walked in with a solemn expression and said with a trembling voice, Great Commander, General Manager Su's side is not doing well. What do you mean? Inwardly, Commander Chen was trembling violently. On the surface, he appeared to be calm. On General Manager Su's side, 2 survivors had fled here to seek shelter. They said that their team had encountered a surprise attack and most of them had been killed. A small half of them had escaped. Even General Manager Su himself had gone missing. Commander Chen could not help but be stunned. The others even stood up in disbelief. Apparently, this news had shocked them. Bring them in. After all, Commander Chen was the leader and he was the first one to react. That trusted aide walked out. In a moment, he had brought Qin Wushuang and Lone into the big tent. It's my pleasure to meet you, Commander Chen and General Manager Su. Currently, Qin Wushuang and Lone also appeared to be battered and exhausted. Their appearance made it impossible for anyone to doubt them. Even General Manager Su had escaped? Commander Chen still found it hard to believe. Chapter 442. Qin Wushuang's words were not smooth. But the more it was like this, the more believable it seemed to Commander Chen. Commander Chen asked in a low voice, The team that attacked you was able to almost annihilate your entire team? How many people were there? How strong were they? Qin Wushuang said, There were only 6 of them. 6 people? Commander Chen was shocked. 6 people could beat your team of 20 into such a sorry state and almost annihilate your entire team. Yes, the strongest tower-like man with a burly body attacked General Manager Su first. Then the 3 young warriors trapped the 5 powerful warriors at the refined void martial stage. The remaining 2 will attack us who are in the spirit martial force. That group of people was very strong. Us 3 brothers had the most advantageous position, but we were also scattered. Now we don't know if our 3rd brother is dead or alive. GMO put on a depressed look at the right time. Big brother is probably dead. I don't think any of the other companions could escape. Then how are the 2 of you going to escape? Could it be that you guys escaped without permission? Next to Commander Chen, that general manager, he sized Qin Wushuang and his friends with some doubts. Qin Wushuang sighed. General manager, although we are only freelance martial artists, we know the rules. How dare we violate the rules set by the commander himself? If General Manager Su didn't give the order to retreat, even if we died, we wouldn't have escaped first. If we had escaped first, how could we have returned to the headquarters? The others are all dead. Dead people tell no tales. Of course you have nothing to fear. Qin Wushuang had a trace of humiliation on his face. Since he was putting on a show, he might as well make it real. He pretended to be wronged and explained, "Commander, we 3 brothers of the Wu family came from the Gobi Desert. We don't know what it means to have nothing to fear." At that time, the team was scattered, but not all of them were killed. At least, General Manager Su should have escaped successfully. Whether or not the 2 of us escaped without orders, when the time comes to meet up with Chief Steward Su, Lord Commander can personally ask Chief Steward Su. If the 2 of us escaped without permission, we will not frown even if you want to kill us. At this moment, Commander Chen clearly didn't care whether they escaped or not. The rules were only a restriction to motivate everyone to fight against the enemy. Since General Manager Su's team had already been defeated and annihilated, how they were annihilated was no longer important. Chief Steward if the Wu brothers ran away on their own, I don't think they have the guts or the face to come here. As long as Chief Steward Su doesn't die, we will find out the truth one day. Now that the truth is unknown, we are still friends in the trenches. There is no need to suspect each other. Commander Chen knew how to win the hearts of the people. He knew better than anyone that at this time, finding out who was responsible was secondary. Stabilizing the morale of the army was the most important. If the Wu brothers were to be executed, it would make everyone even more uneasy. Hearing Commander Chen's words, Chief Steward naturally did not have any objections. Initially, he did not hold any grudges with Qin Wushuang. He only wanted to show some enthusiasm before Commander Chen and show his presence. To put it bluntly, he wanted to flatter Commander Chen and show that he always remembered the rules that Commander Chen had set. Everyone, from the description of the Wu brothers, indeed, the strength of this 100-leaf Qin clan was beyond our expectations. Under our siege, they were still able to send out a team to launch a surprise attack on General Manager Su's team. Regardless of manpower or courage, they were above our expectations. Up to this point, Commander Chen did not try to conceal his wrong judgment. I must say that initially I had misjudged the 100-leaf Qin clan. This is my mistake. When Commander Chen said these words, not only did it make his previous wrong decision appear less dazzling, it also made people feel that he was a responsible leader. All 3 chief stewards said, "Commander Chen, the situation at that time was not only your judgment, it was also the unanimous opinion of all the chief stewards. We never thought that the 100-leaf Qin clan had hidden so many trump cards." Suddenly, an elite warrior at the transformation void martial stage next to Commander Chen said, "Great Commander, could it be that the elite warrior at the profound void martial stage that fought with you today was an elite warrior sent by the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan?" Yes, regarding the 100-leaf Qin clan, could they have nurtured an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage? I don't really believe it. Currently, the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan has closed their doors and is having a problem protecting themselves? How could they send people to help the 100-leaf Qin clan? That might not be the case. The Heavenly Emperor Qin clan is like a centipede that never falls down. At the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, they were pushed aside by the other major powerhouses. Perhaps they were at a disadvantage because they were exhausted. However, regarding the competition between a state and a territory, even if they had sent a random elite warrior, it would be enough to intimidate the entire orderly mountain prefecture. This was the truth. After all, the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan was one of the top powerhouses among the Heavenly Emperor 8-Gate. Even if they were pushed aside, even if people joined hands to retaliate, it would be an open and covert competition between the Heavenly Emperor 8-Gate. That level of competition would be the highest level competition in the Xian Yuan Mound. Not many powerhouses from the lower prefectures would be able to participate in that level of competition. Not to mention that at their level, at most, they were only at the level of a territory or a state. Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. The expression on Commander Chen's face was somewhat unsightly as he seemed to be lost in thought. After a while, Commander Chen spoke slowly. When attacking the 100-Leaf Qin clan, we must finish it quickly. The longer we drag it out, the more disadvantageous it would be. Although the powerhouse that assigned this mission would certainly pay attention to the movements of the disciples of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan, they could not guarantee that no one from the Qin clan would come to help. This 100-Leaf Qin clan is extremely important to the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. The longer we drag it out, the higher the possibility of reinforcements from the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Commander's words make sense. Commander, currently, the 100-Leaf Qin clan possesses tyrannical strength. Our group of people is at most on par with them. We have to find a way to deal with them. Commander Chen nodded. I already have an idea. Everyone, you will continue to set up camp in this area and form a situation of surrounding the 100-Leaf Qin clan. I will go get some reinforcements. I will make it back in 5 or 7 days. Commander, you are the leader of our group. If you go to get reinforcements, I am afraid we will be like a snake without a head. Commander Chen turned around and instructed his 2 trusted aides at the transformation void martial stage. Chen Tong, Chen De, you 2 will be in charge of all major matters during my absence. Then, he said to those 3 general managers, Chen Tong and Chen De are my younger brothers. You 3 will listen to their arrangements for all major matters. Okay. Then, Commander Chen looked at Qin Wushuang and Lone and said again, this time, General Manager Su will not return in a short time. It's rare for these 2 to risk their lives to regroup here. Which one of you is willing to take them in and add them to your team? A general manager with the surname Zhao said with a smile. This time, I just lost 3 or 4 people. It's not bad to add them to my team. Okay, from now on, you 2 will follow General Manager Zhao. After Commander Chen had arranged everything, he let Qin Wushuang and Lone go out. Everyone, this time I am going to ask for help from the strongest powerhouse in the Orderly Mountain Prefecture. None of you can take my place. When Commander Chen said here, he suddenly stopped and suppressed his voice. He said in a low voice, General Manager Zhao, do you know my intention for putting those 2 into your team? General Manager Zhao was somewhat doubtful. Apparently, he had not understood Commander Chen's intention. Commander Chen said, these 2 have come with strange intentions. I cannot determine if they are the remnants of the defeated soldiers. However, if General Manager Su could not escape, and these 2 brothers could escape here, there must be something suspicious. Didn't they say that General Manager Su had escaped? Before General Manager Su had returned, they were already suspicious. Commander Chen suppressed his voice and said again, a moment ago, I deliberately said that you guys could not take my place. It was a move to test them. If they are truly suspicious, they must have been sent by the 100-Leaf Qin clan. If that's the case, we can sell them some fake information and let them send it to the 100-Leaf Qin clan. We can beat them at their own game. Hearing Commander Chen's words, that general manager, he became excited. He immediately followed. I knew it, these 2 guys are somewhat strange. So you are also suspicious of them? Commander Chen smiled lightly. For any matter, we must consider all sides. I am not suspecting them completely. I am only making some necessary precautions in this area. I rather hope that they are spies sent by the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Haha, I understand. For these 2 guys, their combat power will not affect the overall situation much. However, if they are spies, if we use them well, they will be more useful. Yes, I had deliberately said those words for them to hear. However, the matter of asking for help is absolutely true. However, this commander will absolutely not leave this place. Chen Tong, you will take a trip to the Dark Green Cloud Taoist sect for me. Dark Green Cloud Taoist sect? Chen Tong was greatly surprised. The other people also revealed a surprised expression. All of them knew that the dark green cloud Taoist sect was unquestionably the #1 powerhouse in the Orderly Mountain Prefecture. Compared to them, even someone as powerful as Commander Chun still needed to look up before the gigantic dark green cloud Taoist sect. Thus, when they heard that Commander Chun was going to ask for help from the dark green cloud Taoist sect, everyone was astonished. No need to be surprised. Of course, we cannot invite the honored Taoist of the dark green cloud Taoist sect. However, the dark green cloud Taoist sect has an elder Dong Qian who owes me a great favor in the past. Take my letter and ask to see elder Dong Qian, for sure there will be a response. I will explain everything in this letter. Chun Tong nodded in response. Okay, I will take a trip to that dark green cloud Taoist sect. Fortunately, this place was not far from the dark green cloud Taoist sect. With Chun Tong's power at the transformation void martial stage, it would take him at most 2 days to fly back and forth. Commander Chun did as he said. Immediately, he wrote a letter and gave it to Chun Tong. He instructed, when you go to the dark green cloud Taoist sect, act with a low profile. You only need to see elder Dong Qian. Don't get involved with anything else. Regarding the dark green cloud Taoist sect, Commander Chen was still restraining his fear. Thus, he was extremely careful with his words of instruction. There are guests today, so I will update late. However, I said yesterday that I will update 3 chapters. Even if I work until midnight, I will update 3 chapters. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 443. Chun Tong took the letter and put it into his storage equipment. Just when he was about to leave, he was stopped by Commander Chen's gaze. Don't panic, leave quietly in the middle of the night. Don't make any noise. Besides the people in this tent, no one else is allowed to know this secret. Here, besides the general managers, everyone else was Commander Chen's trusted subordinate. Naturally, all the secrets that had happened here would not be leaked. Those 3 general managers bowed and accepted the order. Rest assured, Commander, we will keep it a secret until the end. During this time, you guys must act together. Just treat it as me going out to ask for help. The atmosphere had to show that I wasn't here. If the 2 of them try to escape or slip away, you have to find a way to make them leave. Old Zhao, don't keep an eye on them and don't test them. Let everything happen naturally. There is only one goal, and that is to let them feel that I have left here. Okay. General Manager Zhao accepted the order. Commander, what if they are not spies from the 100-Leaf Qin clan? If they are not, we have nothing to lose. It's just a show. After Commander Chun had explained everything, he announced that they were dismissed and returned to their own tent. After Qin Wushuang and Lone had left the tent, they did not show off too much and arrived at General Manager Zhao's area. After a moment, they saw General Manager Zhao had returned. You 2 will set up camp in this area. Remember, since you have entered my organization, you must listen to my orders. Do not have any strange thoughts and break the rules. We understand. Qin Wushuang and Lone both answered. Go, during the night, you must stay alert. Be careful of the enemy's attack. Also, do not leak any information you heard in the tent. Don't worry, Sir Manager. We 2 brothers are very tactful. General Manager Zhao's personality was not as suspicious as General Manager Su. After he had given a few instructions, he entered his own tent. After Qin Wushuang and Lone had set up camp, they rested inside the tent. Lone sent his voice. Boss, it seems that Commander Chun has already left? Qin Wushuang waved his hand and said, Not necessarily. Didn't he say that he wanted to end the battle quickly? If you want to call for reinforcements, of course it's better to leave as soon as possible. Second brother, if you were in their shoes, What would you think when you suddenly saw us two deserters? Lone thought for a while and smiled. If it were me, I would despise them from the bottom of my heart, and I would never assign any important mission to two deserters. Then, does Commander Chen despise us? Qin Wushuang asked again. I don't think so. GMO was not sure either, but he knew that Chief Steward, he seemed to have a grudge against them. As for that he guy, I don't know if he's trying to curry favor or not. Why do they have to slander us? How despicable. That he guy only wants to curry favor with Commander Chen. Among the 4 chief stewards, Chief Steward Su was the most meticulous. This he guy was just lucky. If he was assigned to Chief Steward Su's mission, I'm afraid he wouldn't even have the chance to escape. So, that he guy is not a threat. Qin Wushuang analyzed carefully. Then who needs to be on guard the most? GMO was quite curious. Commander Chen. Qin Wushuang's tone was cold, and his expression showed that he was not joking. Commander Chen? Of course. He's an expert of the profound void martial stage. You're lying to yourself if you say you don't need to be on guard. Although GMO was arrogant and proud, he also admired Commander Chen's strength from the bottom of his heart. Strength is a problem. The most important thing is that Commander Chen's methods are even better than Chief Steward Su's. Qin Wushuang sighed. That Chief Steward Su is meticulous, but he has a shortcoming after all. This shortcoming also caused him to be unable to become an ambitious and ruthless person. He can only follow others and fight for his life. Big brother, what do you mean? GMO was a bit confused. Qin Wushuang said coldly, it's very simple. That Chief Steward Su is meticulous and suspicious. However, he has a fatal shortcoming. That is, he could not hide these suspicions deep inside his heart. Regardless of his actions or his casual expressions, he would always show his suspicions. However, that Commander Chen is not the same. Don't be fooled by his dignified words in the big tent. I am almost certain that he has already suspected us. Suspected us? Suspected that we are deserters? Could it be that he truly believed the nonsense of that he guy? No. Qin Wushuang shook his head. Whether we are deserters or not, it would not affect the situation much. Certainly, Commander Chen would not waste his time. I think that most likely, he already suspects that we are spies sent by the 100-Leaf Qin clan. This. Instantly GMO was stupefied. That's impossible, right? I feel that the two of us did not reveal any flaws. Because we did not reveal any flaws and performed flawlessly, most likely, it would arouse his suspicions. Of course, if it were anyone else, it would be normal to be suspicious under such circumstances. However, Commander Chen did not suspect us at all. This is not normal. Boss, you humans are too cunning. GMO was also completely speechless. He only asked, then what should we do? If Commander Chen suspected them, then they would be in an extremely dangerous situation. At least GMO thought so. Once they became the target of Commander Chen's suspicion. With the absolute power of an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, he would rather kill the two of them than leave any future troubles. What should we do? Qin Wushuang was even calmer in this dangerous situation. Let's not do anything now. Just wait. Wait for what? GMO was somewhat confused. Wait for the opportunity, wait for the truth to come to light. At least, wait for useful information, wait for everything to become clear. Qin Wushuang was calm and collected. I am afraid that Commander Chen will not give us time to wait. GMO had his own opinion. If it were me, once I became suspicious, I would definitely eliminate the source of trouble. Boss, didn't you say that we should not use people if we are suspicious? Since he is suspicious, he would not use us. Since it's useless and suspicious, what better way to solve the problem than to kill us? Yes. Qin Wushuang's answer was abnormally firm. He waved his hand at GMO. Second, let's make a deduction. I will ask and you will answer. Okay, boss asked. GMO was rather straightforward. Think about it, if you were Commander Chen, would you tell us that you're going somewhere to ask for reinforcements in front of us? For such top secret, besides people at the general manager level, how could they easily leak it? Perhaps he was careless and forgot that we were next to him. It might be possible for such carelessness to happen to you. However, it is impossible for someone like Commander Chen to have such carelessness. Besides, after we came out, they stayed for a while. Initially, Commander Chen's voice was loud, but suddenly, it became silent. Although I could not stop to observe, my instincts told me that Commander Chen said that he was going to ask for help from the strongest powerhouse in the Orderly Mountain Prefecture. And no one could do it for him. After those words, the entire camp seemed to have become silent. Perhaps they were truly making some secret arrangements to avoid our eyes and ears. It's normal, and this doesn't mean anything. However, you said that Commander Chen would not make such a low-level mistake and say that he was going to ask for help in front of us. He even told us the exact date. It would take at least 3 days, and at most 5 or 7 days. Yes, this seems to be a small problem. If you don't pay attention, perhaps you would not think anything of it. The more Qin Wushuang thought about it, the more he felt that there was more to it. All right, let's say that Commander Chen is suspicious of us. Just as I said, since he is suspicious, wouldn't it be the most appropriate to kill us? Why would he arrange us to work under General Manager Zhao? This was the part that GMO did not understand. Qin Wushuang chuckled and continued to send his voice. This is the most complicated part of the entire process. In your opinion, killing us is the most appropriate method. Is this not the most appropriate method? Appropriate is the most appropriate, but it is definitely not the most practical. Qin Wushuang's tone appeared deep. Practical? GMO frowned as he could not understand this. Let's think about it again. If we are spies from the 100-Leaf Qin clan, to them, killing us is only killing 2 characters that are not much of a threat. However, if they do not kill us, there would be a lot of things to do. What things to do? GMO was still shrouded in fog as he could not figure out the clues. This is complicated. Think about it, if we are spies from the 100-Leaf Qin clan and Commander Chen told us that he was going to leave in a few days to ask for help. Then, as spies, would we not pass this secret to the 100-Leaf Qin clan? Yes, for sure. GMO nodded. Then, if this is fake news, and Commander Chen did not go this way, if the 100-Leaf Qin clan received this fake news and sent people to launch a sneak attack, wouldn't they fall right into Commander Chen's trap? The difference between Commander Chen being here and not being here is huge. Think about it carefully. GMO's face turned green as he nodded slowly. Boss, from what you said, it does seem like it. If that is fake news, we would have passed it on. Most likely, the 100-Leaf Qin clan would have fallen into this trap. Such a vicious person, such a vicious strategy. Qin Wushuang responded coldly. It seems that this competition is destined to be a competition of both intelligence and strength. Boss, if that's the case, how long should we wait? We don't have to wait too long, 1 or 2 days will be enough. In our eyes, all the signs indicate that Commander Chen has already left. Therefore, all of this must be Commander Chen's plan to set us up. If everything is foggy and we cannot see it clearly, then it means that Commander Chen did not suspect anything. Yes, then let's observe for 1 or 2 days. That night was silent. On the second day, General Manager Zhao did his routine inspection of the camp. When he found Qin Wushuang's tent, he reminded them, "You two, in the next few days, do not leave the tent if you have nothing to do. Don't talk about it to the outside world. In a moment, Mr. Chen De will come to inspect the camp. You guys must be alert and don't embarrass me." Inwardly, Qin Wushuang's heart thumped as he was even more certain of his previous judgment. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 444. After General Manager Zhao had left the tent, Lone shot a glance at Qin Wushuang. Qin Wushuang understood tacitly as he nodded and sent his voice. Second, you saw it? General Manager Zhao's inspection had a hidden meaning. What kind of message was he trying to convey? Lone had to admit. He told us not to leave the tent and not to talk among ourselves. Wasn't he telling us not to spread the news that Commander Chen had left to seek help? Now, do you think Commander Chen had left or not? Qin Wushuang asked with interest. No. At this time, Lone's brain was also sharp. Qin Wushuang nodded with confidence. No rush to make a conclusion. It's not too late to make a conclusion after that Chen Da has come to inspect. Lone nodded. Okay. Haha, perhaps from Commander Chen's point of view, it's more beneficial for them that we are spies from the 100-Leaf Qin clan. And for me, at this moment, I also feel that the more they treat us as spies, the happier I am. These words had made Lone completely confused. Why is that? This is called beating them at their own game. The more they feel that we are spies, the more they want us to send a false message back to the 100-Leaf Qin clan. This way, our situation will be safer. Second, do you believe that even if we sneak out now, they would not chase after us? They would only treat it as an oversight and let us go. I believe you. Currently, Lone was prostrating himself before Qin Wushuang. He would believe whatever Qin Wushuang said. He was able to maintain such a relaxed attitude in such a dangerous place. Not to mention anything else, just this courage alone was worthy of admiration. Not to mention that Qin Wushuang was able to stay calm and deal with an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage like Commander Chen. With this mental preparation, when Chen Da came to inspect again, it was much easier for the two of them to deal with him. Although this Chen Da was an elite warrior at the transformation void martial stage, his presence was not as strong as Commander Chen. Plus, Commander Chen had given strict orders not to show off or to probe. There was only one goal that made them believe that Commander Chen had left. After patrolling for a moment, Chen Da also left. However, Chen Da did pass on a message. From today onwards, the previous mission of patrolling every 2 hours would be changed to patrolling every hour. And each subordinate of the general manager must participate. This slight change also conveyed a message. Commander Chen had left. If Commander Chen was not absent, why would they change the patrol schedule? However, the more they passed on this message without batting an eyelid, the more Qin Wushuang believed that Commander Chen was bluffing them. He had set up a giant trap and was waiting for them to fall into it. Inside Commander Chen's secret tent, Chief Steward Zhao and Chen Da were carefully serving him. How was it? How did they perform? Commander Chen was very concerned about this matter. Chief Manager Zhao rushed to say, "They look very calm and collected. They don't seem to be as scared as they were on the first day. It seems that the psychological quality of these two brothers is very strong." Commander Chen smiled coldly. "Are they very calm?" Chen Da added, "They're very calm. Moreover, I observed them coldly. They seemed to be listening carefully to every word I said. From the looks of it, they seemed to be pondering over my words. Lord Commander, it looks like these two people are indeed guilty." Chief Steward he seized the opportunity to say. Commander Chen's face always had that kind of calm and unchanging smile. "Observe a little more. They may be observing right now. Lord Commander, what should we do next?" Commander Zhao was still somewhat worried. After all, those two were arranged to be his subordinate. In this way, the burden on his shoulders was not light. "Don't do anything. Wait patiently. Wait for them to make the first move." Commander Chen smiled calmly. "I said the date. If they are spies, they will definitely make a move within 3 days. If they don't make a move within 3 days, regardless of whether they are spies or not, They will be killed without mercy. Why is that? Chenda was stunned. If they wanted to kill, why not do it now? Why did they have to wait for 3 days? If they don't make a move within 3 days, there are only 2 possibilities. The first possibility is that they are not spies. The second possibility is that they are spies, but they have already seen through our plan. Therefore, they will act as if nothing happened. These 2 possibilities determine the fate of their deaths. Commander Chen's tone finally had a trace of spiciness. Inadvertently, his ambitious and ruthless nature was revealed. If they are not spies, there is not much use in keeping them. Whether they are here or not, it will not affect the overall situation. If they disappear quietly, it will not affect the morale of the army. If they are spies, if they don't make a move within 3 days, it means that they have seen through my plan. Such people are very scheming. Keeping them by our side is a disaster. Using them is too risky. If things go wrong, we will be used by them. Chenda nodded thoughtfully. He finally understood. Remember, 3 days. In these 3 days, do not monitor them or test them. If they want to take the chance to run away, let them. If they run away, it is very likely that they have been tricked by us. Director, he smiled flatteringly. To be precise, they have been tricked by Commander. Just like that, the first day passed peacefully. Tomorrow morning, Qin Wushuang and GMO were assigned a patrol mission. They were in charge of patrolling the east side of the camp. The patrol mission was not complicated. Moreover, they took turns. Because it was about to be their turn, Qin Wushuang and GMO did not rest, but stayed in the camp. GMO was a little anxious. Boss, no matter whether this is Commander Chen's plan or not, I think it is better for us to leave here than to stay here. Qin Wushuang smiled. Who said we are going to stay here? Then we leave now? GMO said anxiously. Qin Wushuang shook his head. Now is not the time to leave. I guess if Commander Chen is here, he must be secretly observing our movements. If we do not make any movements, it will be more dangerous. If they suspect that we are spies and we do not make any movements, it will make them even more suspicious. Thus, we must make some movements to confuse them. What movements? GMO said with surprise. Wait for Bao Bao to come. Qin Wushuang said. Perhaps tonight or perhaps tomorrow, Bao Bao will come. During this time, we will not make any movements and act as if nothing had happened. Just as Qin Wushuang had expected, Bao Bao had come before the sun had risen. Third, you are really here. GMO was extremely excited as he sent his voice. The situation has changed. Bao Bao was surprised. What? That Commander Chen is already suspicious of me and boss. GMO said. What? What should we do? How about I use the Earth Elemental technique to take you guys away? Bao Bao was also extremely anxious when he heard that Qin Wushuang and the others were in danger. However, Qin Wushuang remained calm as he waved his hand to let Bao Bao control his emotions. Bao Bao, don't be hasty. Although they are suspicious of me and second, for now, there is no problem with our safety. They also plan to use us to send fake news back to the 100-Leaf Qin clan. You should go back and tell the Qin clan that Commander Chen must have already sent people to call for reinforcements. Thus, the 100-Leaf Qin clan must also make preparations to deal with sudden situations. Of course, it's best to strike first. Strike first. Bao Bao and GMO were both curious. Qin Wushuang still sent his voice through his voice. Yes, strike first. Go back and tell the people of the 100-Leaf Qin clan that there is a plan. Like this. Bao Bao kept nodding when he heard. Okay, boss, be careful. I will go back now. Although Bao Bao was the Gold Monkey King and had the bloodline of the ancient spiritual monkey, his current strength was only at the refined void martial stage. When he had come, he had been careful along the way to eliminate any dangers. Then, he had snuck into Qin Wushuang's tent. However, when he had received instructions from Qin Wushuang to leave, he had deliberately revealed some small flaws. Captain Chun immediately grasped the flaw in the plan. The other elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage had also sensed it and chased after him. Commander, a moment ago there was a weak movement of earth elemental chi. Someone had used the underground technique. That's right, this person's underground technique is extremely advanced and almost impossible to grasp. Commander Chun smiled lightly. Did you all sense the direction? It's those two. Commander Chun laughed. It's those two, right? Report. Immediately, someone came in to report, Commander, those two Wu brothers were sneaking around. When it was their turn to patrol, they secretly left. Commander Chun revealed a joyful expression. Did they leave? Yes. The expression on General Manager He's face also changed drastically as he took the initiative to ask, Commander, should I go and bring them back? No need. Commander Chun said with a smile. Bringing them back would only alert the enemy. Let them go. This is letting them off too easily. General Manager, he appeared to be extremely regretful. As long as they are in the castle of the 100-Leaf Chin clan, we will not worry about letting them off too easily. Sooner or later, these two lives will be in our hands. Let their heads stay on their necks for a few more days. Commander Chun appeared to be extremely happy as he instructed. Everyone, once this news has spread, we must start to make some preparations. Last time, General Manager Su had caught them off guard and caused the entire army to be annihilated. This time, we will set up a giant trap and wait for them to walk into it. This is called, it's impolite not to reciprocate. Haha, Commander is wise. That General Manager, he continued to flatter him. Don't be too happy too early. Currently, this plan has only succeeded halfway. The 100-Leaf Chin clan also has intelligent people. Before this plan succeeds, we cannot be too optimistic. Yes. As long as they dare to attack, we will have a way. General Manager, he laughed mischievously. Whether this plan succeeds or not, it will depend on whether they come out or not. Commander Chun smiled lightly. If they come out and Chun Tong returns, he will make it in time for the final battle. Even if they don't fall into the trap, when Chun Tong returns, he will also have a way to break the 100-Leaf Chin clan. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 445. Outside the castle of the 100-Leaf Chin clan, Patriarch Qin Bolong had led the 6 elders to welcome Qin Wushuang. They had given Qin Wushuang the highest treatment. Of course, Qin Guan and his sister, who had received Qin Wushuang's help along the way, had also come to welcome them. Boss! Bao Bao scuttled over affectionately and winked at Lone. Apparently, he was extremely excited. Young Master Qin is chivalrous and brave. I, Qin Bolong, would like to thank you on behalf of the 100-Leaf Chin clan. Qin Bolong cupped his hands in a salute and held Qin Wushuang's shoulder. Boss, this is the patriarch of the 100-Leaf Chin clan. Bao Bao immediately introduced. Great Patriarch, we are family, please don't say such courteous words. Qin Wushuang said with a smile. As the saying goes, you cannot write 2 Qin characters with one stroke. The Qin clan of the Tianxian land has the same origin, we are connected by blood and flesh. What I did was only part of my duty. Unfortunately, I did not contribute much due to my low strength. Young Master Qin is a promising young man. During the battle at the Duck Beak Mountain, if it weren't for you, how could we have achieved such a perfect outcome? Please come in. Among the young generation of the 100-Leaf Chin clan, not many were as promising as Qin Wushuang. Especially for someone like Qin Wushuang who had both courage and strategy, there was not a single one. Thus, naturally, Qin Bolong's appreciation of Qin Wushuang had come even more urgently. When he walked into the castle of the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan, Qin Wushuang finally understood why the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan could make Commander Chen's group of tigers and wolves suffer such a setback. Indeed, the internal defense of this Hundred-Leaf Qin clan was extraordinary. Young Master Qin, I heard from Tai Hong that your ancestor was once an exceptional disciple of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. I wonder where young Master Qin's lineage has settled down? To the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan, Qin Wushuang's identity was still a mystery. Although Bao Bao had come here, he had not received permission from Qin Wushuang. Of course, he would not expose Qin Wushuang's identity. Since Qin Wushuang had come to the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan and recognized himself as one of them, of course he would not hide his identity. Surrounding him were the core higher-ups of the Hundred-Leaf Qin clan. Besides the Qin brother and sister who had a lower status, they were all figures with reputations. They were not worried about his identity being exposed. To tell you the truth, Lord Patriarch, the three of us came from the human countries. The two of them are my companions. Although they are from the beast race, they are as close as brothers. Human countries. Qin Wushuang, Qin Bolong, Qin Wushuang, Qin Bolong, Qin Wushuang, Qin Wushuang. Apparently, Qin Wushuang Qins, Qin Wushuang, Qin Wushuangs. This mission is related to the name Qin Wushuang. Besides, Qin Wushuang in that mission also came from the human countries. Young Master Qin, in your human countries, is there a young talent with the same name as you? Without waiting for Qin Wushuang to answer, Bao Bao laughed. In the human countries, among the young people with the surname Qin, my boss is the most famous. If it were anyone else, they would not dare to name themselves with the name Qin Wushuang. Qin Zhonglong gave a long sigh. Young Master Qin, have you offended anyone? Qin Wushuang gave a free and easy smile. In the human countries, I went through fire and water and fought countless battles. I did make a lot of enemies by invading my family and my sect. Qin Zhonglong shook his head. With your strength, for sure you would not have any opponents in the human countries. Besides, regardless of how strong the enemies in the human countries are, they would not issue the mission to the Freelance Martial Artist Union of the Xian Yuan Mound. Regarding the Xian Yuan Mound, there is only one enemy. Qin Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. That would be the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect. Heavenly Luo Taoist sect? When Qin Bolong heard this name, he could not help but draw a breath of cold air. In the Xian Yuan Mound, it was impossible for him not to have heard the name of the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect. Heavenly Luo Taoist sect. Qin Zhonglong also spoke with a solemn tone. Apparently, he was also restraining his fear of this name. On the other hand, Qin Wushuang said with a calm smile, "Everyone, no need to worry about me. Earlier, the grudge between us and the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect had been resolved. Now, even if the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect were to seek revenge, it would be me alone. Since I had to avoid the eyes of the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect along the way, I had concealed my identity. I didn't expect that the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect would not give up." Qin Bolong asked Qin Zhonglong seriously, "Second brother, what kind of mission did you receive?" It was a bounty to kill a young man named Qin Wushuang. They had specifically stated that this young man had come from the human countries and had two spiritual beasts following him all year round. He had exceptional combat power. The price of this bounty was also not low. It was 50,000 gold crystal stones. 50,000 gold crystal stones. Lone cried out, "The three of us are only worth this little money? Darn it, who issued this stupid mission, isn't this looking down on us?" Qin Wushuang also waved his hand. "Great Patriarch and Elders, I'm sorry. Today, let's not talk about the matter between me and the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect. As long as everyone can keep my identity a secret, I will be deeply indebted to you. Even if the Heavenly Luo Taoist sect were to chase after me all over the world, they would be helpless if they could not find my shadow." Boss, if they could not find you, would they harass the Stargaze Palace, or the Eastwood Qin clan? Bao Bao was worried. I have also prepared a hand for them. Don't worry, that Luo Tianxi's backer is only an elder with a low status in the heavenly Luo Daoist sect. In the sect, he is not the most powerful person. Besides, before my departure, I had also made some arrangement. That would be for the best. Suddenly, Qin Bolong said, You don't have to worry too much about harming the human countries. According to the agreement made by the Forbidden Spiritual Zones 10,000 years ago, the powerhouses of the Forbidden Spiritual Zones are not allowed to get involved in the disputes of the human countries. They are not allowed to deal with the powerhouses of the human countries for no reason to prevent a new round of conflicts from erupting in the Forbidden Spiritual Zones. Qin Wushuang had also heard similar words. Immediately, he said seriously, Great Patriarch, my personal matter ends here. Our top priority is to discuss how to beat back the enemies who are eyeing us covetously. That Commander Chun claimed to have gone out to call for reinforcements. I speculate that he did not go. However, it should be true about calling for reinforcement. On this day, I did not see Chun Tong. I am afraid that Chun Tong had gone to call for reinforcements for Chun Sen. The reinforcements that Commander Chun is calling for must not be ordinary. Thus, before the reinforcements arrive, we must injure the enemy severely. Or else, if the reinforcements were to gather with them, it would be a great blow to the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Yes, to make a move, we must do it within these 5 to 7 days. When the reinforcements arrive, the 100-Leaf Qin clan will become even more passive. Lone also had the same opinion. Qin Bolong did have the responsibility of a patriarch, as he said in a low voice. With the information brought back by young Master Wushuang, since that Commander Chun is here, I am afraid that even if we mobilize all the powerhouses of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, we would not gain any advantage. For this battle, the strength of both parties is almost balanced. Now they are competing in terms of strategy. That Commander Chun had deliberately released false information and set up a trap for the 100-Leaf Qin clan to fall into. To break it, we must start with this strategy and beat them at their own game. How to beat them at their own game? Young Master Wushuang, do you have any good ideas? After a moment of thinking, Qin Wushuang nodded and said, Commander Chun had deliberately created the illusion that he was not here. Then, we must follow this illusion to use our strategy. Let's do it in the dark. Today is still a social gathering. The old rules will be made up for tomorrow. In the next few days, Old Bull will reignite his firepower and prepare to explode. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 446. On the surface, they were building one path, but secretly plotting another. Qin Wushuang's plan was the key for the 100-Leaf Qin clan to get through this difficult time. Qin Bolong immediately asked, Young Master Wushuang, please explain in detail. Qin Wushuang said calmly, Patriarch, may I ask, who is the strongest warrior in the 100-Leaf Qin clan? It's my 9th great-uncle, Qin Sheng. Qin Bolong said honestly. On that day, it should be this senior Qin Sheng who fought with Commander Chun in the sky above the 100-Leaf Qin clan's castle, right? Qin Wushuang asked. Yes, 9th great-uncle is the only elite warrior at the profound void martial stage in the 100-Leaf Qin clan. And Tai Hong is 9th great-uncle's contract spiritual beast, his old partner for a few hundred years. Qin Wushuang nodded slowly and said in a low voice, The key to this battle is to lure Commander Chun away. If we can lure Commander Chun away, with senior Qin Sheng's strength, he could use his profound void martial stage power to defeat the others. Regardless of the 4 general managers, or Commander Chen's 2 trusted aides at the transformation void martial stage, Chun Tong and Chun Da, they would be powerless to fight against senior Qin Sheng. Now, the problem is whether we can find an elite warrior with enough strength to lure Commander Chen away and pretend to be Senior Qin Shing for a short period of time. Such a candidate made things difficult for Qin Bolong and the others. Both Qin Bolong and Qin Zhonglong knew clearly what it meant to have the strength of the profound void martial stage. They were elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage. However, before ninth great-uncle, they did not have any capital to resist. The difference of one stage was fatal and could not be filled. Young Master Wushuang, that Chun Sen has the same strength as my ninth great-uncle. Even my ninth great-uncle could not defeat him with his divine skills. In the 100-Leaf Qin clan, we cannot find another person that could be on par with Chen Sr. Qin Bolong did not hide his strength. Qin Wushuang said with a light smile, "If there is no such figure, then we must plan something else for this battle. Do you have any other ideas?" Apparently, Qin Bolong held Qin Wushuang in high esteem. "Patriarch, can I pay a visit to Senior Qin Shing?" Qin Wushuang suddenly raised this question. At this moment, Qin Wushuang already had a plan in mind. Since he had just entered the Xian Yuan Mound, it would not be a good idea if he stayed here for too long. Thus, he also hoped to help the 100-Leaf Qin clan out of their predicament as soon as possible. From there, he would understand the exact situation of the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. Qin Bolong said straightforwardly, "Okay, I will go ask for instructions for young Master Wushuang. My ninth great-uncle holds a supreme position at the 100-Leaf Qin clan. Even if me and second brother wanted to see him, we would need to ask for permission. Please forgive me, young Master Wushuang. Lord Patriarch, please go ahead." Qin Wushuang naturally wouldn't care about this. Ever since Qin Shing fought with Yi Chunsen, he returned to the castle and went into seclusion again. He also knew that this time, the 100-Leaf Qin clan was facing a tough opponent. Therefore, he didn't want to give up any precious time to cultivate. If he raised it by 1 point, he would raise it by 1 point. In a fight between insightful emptiness realm experts, even the slightest advantage could sometimes be fatal. Ninth granduncle, Bolong requests an audience. Qin Bolong's voice came from outside the door. Qin Shing frowned slightly. Inwardly, he thought, could it be that group of mercenaries had launched another attack? "What is it?" Qin Shing said with a light tone and did not show much emotion. "Ninth granduncle, it's like this. There is a disciple of the Qin clan from the human countries," Qin Bolong said in a protective tone, and explained the general situation of Qin Wushuang. After Qin Shing had finished listening, he felt somewhat strange. A disciple of the Qin clan from the human countries? The Heavenly Emperor Qin clan also has a branch in the human countries? Ninth granduncle, it's true. Through various information channels, we also found out that there is indeed a branch of the Qin clan in the human countries. For this Qin Wushuang, in the recent few years, he had also gained a great reputation and was a hot topic that no one dared to challenge. At such a young age, he already has strength close to the void martial stage. And this kid is not even 20 years old. Human countries, less than 20 years old, close to the void martial stage. When Qin Shing heard up to this point, he could not help but have some strange thoughts. For your information, for such achievement, none of the disciples of the 100-Leaf Qin clan could compare to him. However, the 100-Leaf Qin clan had mingled in the Xian Yuan Mound. Regarding the training environment, it was more than 10 times better than the human countries. With this comparison, it further highlighted the extraordinariness of this disciple called Qin Wushuang from the human countries. He wants to see me? Qin Shing felt somewhat suspicious. Usually, as an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, ordinary young people would not even have the time to avoid him. It would be impossible for them to ask to see him. Most likely, they would not even have the courage to think about it. Yes. Qin Bolong answered honestly. For such a young man, I must meet him. If he is a good seedling, I will recommend him to the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. It would be a great contribution to the headquarters. Bolong, arrange it. I want to see him at the inner courtyard of the castle. Yes. When Qin Bolong heard the permission from ninth granduncle, he left happily. Young Master Wushuang, in our inner courtyard, only the core disciples and above are qualified to live here. When you get out of this hall, walk towards the back. After you pass through the corridor, you will arrive at the backyard. Ninth granduncle will meet you there. Qin Bolong said patiently. Great Patriarch, indeed, this Qin courtyard is extraordinary. In the human countries, even the royal palace did not pay such attention. Qin Bolong chuckled. This is nothing. In the future, when you go to the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan, you will truly experience the so-called majestic temperament. It will truly be the feeling of swallowing the heaven and earth. While they were talking, these two had already passed through the long corridor. Young Master Wushuang, ninth granduncle wants to see you alone. I will escort you here. Turn right and you will arrive at the backyard. Qin Bolong stopped and said. Qin Wushuang smiled lightly and walked forward. In the quiet backyard, large trees were planted with shade. Before Qin Wushuang had walked closer, he felt a wave of strange temperament. It was not tyrannical, nor was it tyrannical. Instead, it was a miraculous state of nature. It was as if the entire world had condensed into this small space and turned into nothingness. In between his thoughts, the entire world seemed to have condensed into this small space. And in this small space, an old man with gray hair and beard stood leisurely under the tree with his hands behind his back. He fixed his gaze forward. Qin Wushuang only felt that if he took one step forward or one step back, he would destroy this harmonious environment. At this moment, he could not help but stop his footsteps. Qin Wushuang? Finally, the old man spoke with a smile on his face. Senior Qin Wushuang. Qin Wushuang's eyes also lit up. Yes, indeed, heroes come from the youth. Under such environment, I am afraid even Bolong and the others would find it difficult to remain calm. Nice, at such a young age, you have the temperament of a grandmaster. Qin Shing's compliment did not make Qin Wushuang feel proud. In fact, Qin Wushuang's temperament had benefited from the accumulation of his past and present lives. Especially in his former life, he was a supreme grandmaster and was highly respected by others. He had never lost his temperament in any situation. Currently, although he was meeting an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, it did not make Qin Wushuang feel too much pressure. Regarding the profound void martial stage, Chen Sen was also at the profound void martial stage. And he was from the enemy camp. Before Chen Sen, Qin Wushuang remained calm and composed. Additionally, although an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage was strong, he was not the strongest person Qin Wushuang had ever met. Not to mention that unpredictable trickster Li Bai. For sure, Senior Yun Xuechen's strength was far above an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage. For this point, Qin Wushuang had deduced it from countless details. Before Yun Xuechen, although Qin Wushuang did not lose his respect, he did not feel the so-called fear or uneasiness. This was his innate temperament. I am Qin Wushuang. It is my honor to meet you, Senior Qin Shing. Haha, good. With an indifferent expression, Qin Shing pointed to the stone bench. Sit. After he had sat down, that Qin Shing still had that indifferent expression. Young talent from the Qin clan of the human countries, I must say that you are a surprise. Senior Qin Shing. Wushuang was in a hurry to see him, not because he wanted to hear Senior's praise. Since this is an emergency, please allow me to ask. Do you have any methods to defeat the enemy? This question was somewhat sharp. Of course, who was Qin Shing? Of course, he would not care about these things with a junior. He smiled lightly. I heard from Bolong that you have some ideas? I do not have 100% confidence in those strategies. However, Chun Sin is waiting for the 100-Leaf Qin clan to launch a surprise attack on them. This mentality of theirs could be exploited. Besides, there is not much time. When their reinforcements arrive, the situation would become even more unfavorable. Without 100% confidence, you came to see me. Could it be you want to persuade me to take a gamble? A trace of strange light flashed across Qin Shing's eyes. No, I have a direct and effective method. Qin Wushuang had made up his mind. What method? Qin Shing could not help but be moved. It's simple, kill Chun Sin directly. Qin Wushuang's tone was also extremely cold. Ha ha! Qin Shing's tone was bitter as he slowly shook his head. In the entire 100-Leaf Qin clan, the person that could kill Chun Sin has not appeared. That Chun Sin's strength is on par with mine. Unless the headquarter of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain sends out an elite warrior at the elder level, it would be difficult to kill Chun Sin. Senior Qin Shing, if I could make everything easy, would you dare to try? Oh! Lights flashed across Qin Shing's eyes as he looked at Qin Wushuang with astonishment. Senior, you two are on par with each other. Indeed, it would be difficult for you to kill him head-on. However, what if I lend you a divine weapon? Divine weapon? Qin Shing laughed and shook his head with a long sigh. My 100-Leaf Qin clan has never seen any divine weapons in the Xian Yuan Mound. How could there be so many divine weapons in this world? Qin Wushuang did not answer and took the graceful spiritual bow in his hand. As he urged his spiritual qi slightly, the graceful spiritual bow immediately shone with divine light. This resplendent light almost made people unable to open their eyes. Even the knowledgeable Qin Shing was dumbstruck as he stuttered. This object emits profound divine lights and has a flamboyant charm. It is a rare divine weapon. Indeed, it is a divine weapon. As he mumbled, the way he looked at Qin Wushuang had become different than before. This? Did your ancestor leave this behind? This way, your ancestor was not ordinary at the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 447. Of course, Qin Wushuang would not explain anything. The reason why he was willing to take out the graceful spiritual bow was after careful consideration. It was a form of recognition to the bloodline of the Qin family. This form of recognition did not come out of nowhere. Instead, he had slowly felt the same way through his experiences. Ever since he had entered the Xian Yuan Mound, he had persevered in taking his sister to escape, and the disciples of the Qin family who would rather die than submit under General Manager Su's butcher knife. All these experiences had increased Qin Wushuang's impression of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. And after seeing Qin Bolong, the patriarch, Qin Wushuang had seen the unique temperament and boldness of the disciples of the Qin family. Most importantly, up to this moment, he could not think of a 100% safe method to defeat the enemy. To solve the crisis of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, the most direct method was to kill Chun Sin, the leader of the enemy. He would cut the Gordian knot with a swift knife and do it cleanly. Qin Wushuang asked himself that it should not be a problem for him to use the graceful spiritual bow to kill an elite warrior at the refined void martial stage. However, it would not be feasible to cross 3 levels to kill someone at the profound void martial stage like Chun Senator. The success rate would not be 1%. However, if an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage were to use the graceful spiritual bow, the power would be incomparable. Senior Qin Shing, there are only 3 arrows that match this bow. If I lend it to you, can you kill Chun Sin within 3 arrows? Qin Shing's eyes did not leave the graceful spiritual bow. He took a deep breath and said, "This bow is an extraordinary object, I can see through it with one look. However, even if you lend it to me, without 10 to 15 days of familiarization, it would be difficult to unleash its advantages. However, I am confident that I can kill an elite warrior at the same level as me within 3 arrows. Great! Qin Wushuang slapped his thigh. If Senior Qin Shing has such confidence, then this battle will be a complete victory. He handed the graceful spiritual bow forward. Senior, in this battle, whether or not this bow can kill an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage will depend on you. Whether or not the 100-leaf Qin clan can solve this crisis, it will all depend on you. Qin Shing's indifferent expression finally showed great joy. He laughed loudly. Good, good, good. After saying the word good 3 times in a row, Qin Shing then praised from the bottom of his heart, Young man, it's already very extraordinary to have your cultivation and fortune. It's rare to have such a temperament. You lent me such a divine weapon just like that. Just based on your trust in me, Chen Sen's life is mine. Young man, can you tell me why you trust me so much? Could it be that you're not afraid that I'll take your divine weapon for myself? Senior, although I'm young, I know what it means to be connected by blood. Although the disciples of the Qin clan had different personalities, deep in their bones, there was always a form of loftiness that did not follow the crowd. From you, from Patriarch Qin Bolong, even from the young generation of the 100-leaf Qin clan, you all have such similar temperament. This is not something that others can impersonate. Good. What a great bloodline. Qin Shing laughed and stood up. Time is of the essence. Today is the day of the battle. All the backbones of the Qin clan were gathered together. With a solemn expression, Qin Shing looked at all the backbones of the 100-leaf Qin clan before him. All disciples of the 100-leaf Qin clan, is the Qin bloodline flowing in your body boiling? The 100-leaf Qin clan is being forced to their door. Will the disciples of the Qin clan yield to them? A series of questions, from Patriarch Qin Bolong to the ordinary backbones, each of them were filled with righteous indignation as they gnashed their teeth. Apparently, the 100-leaf Qin clan also deeply resented those evil powerhouses that had bullied their door. Now, although the bandits have retreated temporarily, the crisis of the 100-leaf Qin clan has not been resolved. The enemy still surrounded the castle of the 100-leaf Qin clan. It's like a devil's claw that is pinching the throat of the 100-leaf Qin clan. Now, let's go and cut off this devil's claw. Qin Shing's voice did not exaggerate nor incite the crowd. However, when these words came out from his mouth, it carried a form of magical power that made people believe that he had the ability to do it. Bolong, take a group of people and depart from here. Zhonglong, you also take a group of people. Tai Hong, you and your son will be a group of people and wait at this position. When they were assigned here, suddenly Qin Shing's tone paused. It was because he realized that they still lacked someone who could disrupt the enemy's formation. At this moment, the guard outside the castle came to report. Patriarch, outside the castle, Qin Zhao has returned. And he has brought a young master. Qin Zhao brought a young master? Qin Bolong could not help but feel somewhat surprised. Initially, Qin Zhao was captured by the enemy. I heard that he was saved by a young man from the Jiufang clan. Could it be that young man from the Jiufang clan came back with Qin Zhao? It's possible. Qin Zhonglong nodded. Let them come here directly. At this crucial moment, Qin Bolong did not want to waste any time. In a moment, Qin Zhao brought a person to the inner courtyard of the Qin clan. That young man had an extraordinary temperament. Indeed, he was that young man that Qin Wushuang had seen at the Black Raven Royal City. Qin Wushuang still remembered that he had given himself a name, Jiufang Yunfei. Initially, this Jiufang Yunfei's flying sword technique had made General Manager Su feel inferior. The scene was filled with envy and admiration. Patriarch, I am back. As soon as Qin Zhao returned, he knelt on the ground. I am useless and was captured by the enemy. If it wasn't for this young master Jiufang, I am afraid that I would have died. Qin Bolong said, Stand up and speak. Now, Qin Zhao stood up and introduced. This young Master Jiu Fang is the great benefactor who saved me at the execution ground. I am Jiu Fang Yunfei. Nice to meet you all. Jiu Fang Yunfei's bearing was truly admirable. It was clear that his eyesight was also very accurate. With a glance, he could tell that although Qin Bolong was the clan leader, the person with the most authority was still the old man, Qin Xing. Thus, Jiu Fang Yunfei was the first one to be rude to Qin Xing to show his respect to an elite warrior. When he turned to look at Qin Wushuang, his expression clearly froze. You, Qin Wushuang said with a smile. Indeed, young Master Jiu Fang has a good memory. When we brushed past each other in the crowd, you remembered me. That's right, we did meet at the Black Raven Royal City. Jiu Fang Yunfei laughed. At that time, I felt that you were about to make a move and kept making eye contact with the people next to me. I wanted to wait for you guys to make a move first. We had the intention, but we did not have the speed like young Master Jiu Fang. Young Master Jiu Fang, could it be you are a disciple of the Jiu Fang clan, one of the Heavenly Emperor Eight Gates? Qin Xing sized Jiu Fang Yunfei for a moment and asked without batting an eyelid. That's right. Jiu Fang Yunfei answered honestly. Unfortunately, those are all in the past. Currently, my Jiu Fang clan is no longer one of the Heavenly Emperor Eight Gate. The Heavenly Emperor Eight Gates are like the change of dynasties. The ups and downs are unpredictable. The fact that the Jiu Fang clan once resided at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain is a form of supreme glory. With this foundation, it's not impossible for us to return to the Heavenly Emperor Mountain in the future. Jiu Fang Yunfei was rather modest as he said with a smile. This is the goal that I trained hard for. One day, I will let the name of the Jiu Fang clan become one of the Heavenly Emperor Eight Gates again. Young man, you have ambition, great. Patriarch Qin, I see that a few hundred miles outside the Qin castle, vividly, there seems to be powerful enemies surrounding. I wonder if the 100-leaf Qin clan has a way to break through the enemy? Jiu Fang Yunfei asked curiously. We do have a way to break through the enemy, but we still lack a capable person. Young Master Jiu Fang has exceptional skills and can fly on the sword. You are suitable for this task. Jiu Fang Yunfei raised his sword-like eyebrow. Oh? Qin Xing said with a smile. Breaking through the enemy is right before us, we only lack someone to disrupt the enemy's camp. Young Master Jiu Fang is an exceptional disciple of the Jiu Fang clan. You are extraordinary and can take on this task. I just wonder if you would be willing to do me the honor and help? The Heavenly Emperor Qin clan once helped the Jiu Fang clan. It's natural for us to work for the Qin clan. Please let me know if you need me. Okay, young Master Jiu Fang, you will be in charge of harassing the enemy's camp. Commander Chun Sin of the enemy has come out, you must not fight him. This person is an elite warrior at the Profound Void martial stage and is not to be underestimated. Jiu Fang Yunfei said in a low voice. Elite warrior at the Profound Void martial stage? Then we should not underestimate him. Boss, let's go join in the fun. Bao Bao said. Qin Wushuang said with a smile. For this battle, we will listen to Senior Qin Xing's arrangements. Qin Xing laughed. You three will go with Tai Hong and be in charge of surrounding and attacking, how about it? Okay. After he had finished arranging, Qin Xing waved his arm and shouted. Everyone listen to my orders. We will depart immediately according to the plan. We will attack at dusk. Yes. For this battle, Qin Xing did not arrange many people. There were only a few dozen people. Naturally, their absolute strength was much weaker than Chun Sen's side. However, the main point of this battle was to kill the leader. As long as they could kill Chun Sen, the leader, it would be easy to kill these mercenaries. Thus, for this battle, the performance of the other people was secondary. The most crucial part was whether Qin Xing could kill Chun Sen or not. Currently, information kept coming back from Chun Sen's giant tent. Suddenly, a trace of a strange smile emerged from the corner of Chen Sen's mouth. Everyone, the 100-leaf Qin clan. They seem to be unable to sit still and have made a move. It seems that the fish has taken the bait and they have lost their patience. Prepare yourselves. Follow my plan and prepare for battle. Chen Sen smiled casually. This time, he was confident that victory was within his grasp since he had lured the 100-leaf Qin clan out. Immediately, the 3 general managers gathered their teams. Everyone, stay alert. The 100-leaf Qin clan is about to make a move. A fierce battle is coming. Everyone, bring out your best. This is your chance to make a contribution. It's time for everyone to fight for the bounty. Their simple mobilization had caused the blood of these freelance martial artists to boil. They could not do anything to the Qin castle. However, since the 100-leaf Qin clan had taken the initiative to attack, it would be the best. For this battle, regardless of anything, they must take out the 100-leaf Qin clan. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 448. Everyone, listen up. Outside the camp, shouts from the 100-leaf Qin clan resonated from all directions. Your leader, Chen Sen, has gone out to seek help. Everything is within our expectations. Now, with the forefather of the Qin clan stepping out personally, besides Chen Sen, no one else is qualified to fight against him. In today's battle, those who surrender will live. Those who resist will be killed without mercy. The cold voice resounded across all 4 corners of the hillside. At the same time as this voice, Jiufang Yunfei descended from the sky while riding on his flying sword. He tapped the ground with his feet and tens of thousands of sword lights shot down like rain. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Instantly, a chaotic sound emerged from all around the camp. As soon as Jiufang Yunfei made his move, the 3 groups of people from the 100-leaf Qin clan all rushed in. Once again, a terrifying smile emerged from the corner of Chen Sen's mouth. This was a sinister smile. He mumbled to himself eerily, "Good timing." Suddenly, he lifted his body and soared to the sky like a long dragon breaking through the sky. He straightened the long sword in his hand and laughed. "I, Chen Sen, am here. All the invading Qin clansmen, don't leave a single one, kill." As Chen Sen spoke, he waved his long sword and rolled up a wave of sharp sword light. He guided the tip of the sword and slashed towards Jiufang Yunfei. The speed of this sword light was extremely fast. As soon as it rolled over, Jiufang Yunfei instantly felt a wave of devouring power. It was as if his entire body had been sucked in by some mysterious power. In between this move, the power of an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage allowed Jiufang Yunfei to deeply experience the difference between them. He gritted his teeth and rode his flying sword to the sky at a high speed. Chen Sen laughed eerily. "You want to escape? I will use you as an offering to my sword." He lifted his body casually and rolled into the sky. Instantly, he had shortened the distance between him and Jiufang Yunfei. This speed, this temperament, no wonder he was an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage. However, Chen Sen never expected that with this jump, he had become a live target after he had lifted his body into the air. Qin Shing was hiding far behind the forest. When he saw this scene, he gently lifted his arm. The graceful spiritual bow in his hand emitted a beautiful aurora-like brilliance. At this moment, Chen Sen suddenly realized something and turned his head around. His gaze was like lightning as it shot toward the direction of the forest. He asked with a cold smile, "Qin clan's old ancestor, why are you hiding and not coming out?" Although Chen Sen could feel Qin Shing's murderous aura enveloping him, he could not see the graceful spiritual bow in Qin Shing's hand. After the protection of the ball of light was broken open, his escape technique was also in use. As long as he had a breath's time, it would be enough for him to escape 100 miles away. However, in a battle between experts, half a breath's time was already very precious, not to mention 1 breath's time. Chen Sen's pupils suddenly enlarged infinitely. His eyes were completely filled with a despairing green color. It was as if all of a sudden, the heaven and earth had dimmed down and was surrounded by this suffocating green color. In the next moment, Chen Sen's body seemed to have been fixed. As if it had an infinite magical power, it firmly fixed Chen Sen's body in place. Poochie, poochie. 2 consecutive sounds. The jade green arrow, from the body to the soul, completely destroyed Chen Sen, who was still insufferably arrogant just a moment ago. This destructive momentum and speed simply made Qin Sheng, who was using the graceful spiritual bow, dumbstruck. Boom! The green light soared into the sky. Chen Sen's body, as if it was cut open inch by an invisible divine knife, turned into a bloody mess and scattered in the sky. The insufferably arrogant elite warrior of the profound void martial stage had fallen just like that. In midair, Jiufang Yunfei, who saw this scene from afar, was also dumbstruck. He never thought that this Chen Sen, being an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, had died so quickly. It could be said that there were no signs, no power to resist, and he did not even have the time to react. After a moment of being stunned, Jiufang Yunfei regained his senses and shouted, "Chen Sen is dead, Chen Sen is dead." Hearing Jiufang Yunfei's call, Qin Bolong and his brother, Tai Hong, Qin Wushuang and the others were overjoyed at the unexpected good news. All of them strengthened their attacks from all sides. Qin Sheng put away the graceful spiritual bow and the 3 jade green arrows. He also shouted while floating in the air, "Everyone, don't hold back. Those who offend the 100-leaf Qin clan, we will kill without mercy. Today, kill to your heart's content. Kill to your heart's content. Kill to your heart's content. Kill." After Qin Sheng had finished instructing, he also gave a long whistle. Like a falcon pouncing on its prey, he dived down. As an elite warrior at the profound void martial stage, without an elite warrior at the same level, it was as easy as a wolf entering a flock of sheep when he charged into a group of enemies. In a few attacks, he had killed a few elite warriors at the refined void martial stage. And these few elite warriors at the refined void martial stage did not have the power to fight him. Each of them had been swept away in one move. In a battle at this level, without a leader, the party would fall into a passive state. A group of dragons without a leader could not hold on, not to mention this motley crew. Initially, they had been tied together by benefits. When they learned that Chen Sen had been killed, their previous courage and confidence had instantly collapsed. Besides running for their lives, each of them did not have the heart to linger in battle. Including those 3 general managers, fear had surpassed all other emotions. Now, in order to save their lives, how could these people care about deployment or formation? Plus, with Qin Wushuang and the other 2 groups of people, they were utterly defeated. The most fatal part was that after Qin Sheng had killed Chen Sen, his temperament had reached the peak. The long spear in his hand was like a poisonous dragon. With each spear attack, someone would lose their life before his astonishing attack. Now, with Chen Sen dead, Chen Tong had gone to the dark green cloud Taoist sect to ask for reinforcements. Chen De was equivalent to the highest leader. However, at this moment Chen De was also dumbfounded. After all, Chen Sen's death was too sudden and unexpected. At the same time, it was a huge blow to their morale. With Chen Da's experience, at this crucial moment, he could not control the others. The scene immediately became chaotic. Their defense was like tofu dregs that were constantly being broken apart and trampled on by others. Chen Da, the 4 of us will form a group. Don't split up. General Manager Zhao was the first one to call out. General Manager He, who had always liked to flatter Commander Chun Sun, also shouted, "Yes, the four of us will work together to break through their encirclement. Whether we can escape with our lives, it will depend on whether we can work together. Okay, let's charge together." Chun De used all his strength to move closer to the three general managers. When these four elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage gathered together, inwardly, they had gained some confidence. Initially, they could have escaped through the air. However, at this moment, the old ancestor of the Qin clan was floating in the air like an angry King Kong. If they were to escape through the air, they would hit the tip of the spear. Thus, they decided to work together to break through the encirclement on the ground. Facing Qin Bolong and Qin Zhonglong would be more ideal than facing this mysterious old ancestor of the Qin clan. Only, without Chun Sen's protection, how could they afford to carry out such wishful thinking? Qin Shing said with a smile. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage. I only have 3 arrows here. Let's shoot at 3 people and see who is luckier to not die under my arrows. After he had finished speaking, he pulled the graceful spiritual bow again and shot out 3 arrows. There were no accidents and no luck. It was impossible for a miracle to happen. The graceful spiritual bow had revealed its power, and wherever the jade green arrows went, the 3 general managers seemed to have been locked in place. While they were dumbstruck, the arrows had already entered their bodies. The same explosion, the same green light had broken through their bodies, and the same amount of flesh and blood had scattered everywhere. Instantly, the 3 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage had turned into ashes. Qin Shing also felt a chill run down his spine as he thought inwardly, "Good heavens, I am afraid this object is truly a divine weapon." At such a young age, that Qin Wushuang already had such luck to not get devoured by this divine weapon. It seems that he is a person with profound luck. With endless sighs, Qin Shing's expectation of Qin Wushuang had also increased imperceptibly. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 449. The sudden turn of events caused Chun Sen's side to completely collapse. With Chun Sen's death, the 3 general managers had also been killed instantly. The remaining Chen Da's eyes had turned red as he desperately tried to charge outside. However, under this situation, the 100-leaf Qin clan had formed an iron bucket formation around this area. Regardless of how he tried to charge left and right, all he encountered were elite warriors of the 100-leaf Qin clan. Patriarch Qin Bolong, Qin Zhonglong, and Tai Hong, these 3 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage were all figures that could threaten Qinda. The most fatal part was that Qin Shing, the most threatening one, was still taking care of him from the side. Qin Shing did not make many moves. However, he had locked onto the entire battle area with his spiritual perception. It would be fine if he did not make a move. Once he made a move, it meant that he would reap a life. Qin Wushuang and Bao Bao also slaughtered to their heart's content in a group of 3. To Qin Wushuang, he had no intention to be the main character in this battle. To Qin Wushuang, the greatest meaning of this battle was to make a fortune in silence. Currently, his spiritual qi was 80 or 90% mature on the path to the perfect stage. One could almost say that he was only one step away from the unreachable spiritual martial force in the past. Thus, in this battle, although Qin Wushuang did not have the graceful spiritual bow as his trump card, the Fury Dragon Soul was like a tiger that had grown wings in his hands. Plus, with Bao Bao and the Purple Flame Electric Beast supporting him from the sides, Qin Wushuang had gained endless benefits from the 3-in-1 attack. Chun Sun, who was at the profound void martial stage, was shot to death by Qin Shing immediately. Instantly, 3 of the 4 elite warriors at the transformation void martial stage had also been killed. The remaining Chun Da was battered and exhausted like a trapped beast. The remaining freelance martial artists were either at the refined void martial force or the spiritual martial force. To Bao Bao and the purple flame electric beast, the refined void martial stage was no longer a threat. And in the eyes of Qin Wushuang and the others, the spiritual martial force was an existence that could be ignored. In the blink of an eye, Qin Wushuang's Fury Dragon Soul had trapped 2 freelance martial artists at the perfect stage. He initiated the genuine qi from the power of Deep North and absorbed all the spiritual qi from these 2. Apart from the people involved, no one else would be able to tell what was going on. The people who were locked onto by Qin Wushuang's whip twitched and shriveled up. Even if someone were to witness this scene, they would only think that Qin Wushuang's Fury Flood Dragon Soul had some special and miraculous effect. They would never be able to think of any other reason. After all, the power of Deep North was too novel for the cultivators of this world. It was a cultivation technique that they had never heard of before. Since they hadn't seen it before, they naturally wouldn't think of it that way. Bao Bao and the purple flame electric beast were also having a great time killing. If one were to say that Bao Bao had held back and did not use all his power, then the purple flame electric beast had used this battle to vent all the anger inside his heart. In this battle, there were 7 or 8 elite warriors that had died at the hands of the purple flame electric beast. After Chun Da had been killed, this massacre had become much easier. Without their leader, these wandering warriors were completely exposed as a motley crew. Fighting on their own would only make them die faster. Under the attack of the Qin disciples, who were like tigers and wolves, not a single one of them had escaped. On the side of the 100-leaf Qin clan, besides a few disciples at the spiritual martial force that had died, all the elite warriors at the void martial stage were unharmed. Indeed, this battle was a complete victory. Even Qin Bolong had never imagined that this battle would be so successful. Even the most optimistic person would not have imagined that the result of this battle would end with the 100-leaf Qin clan obtaining a complete victory. The most gratifying thing was that this complete victory was built on the foundation of low casualties. This was even rarer. Qin Xing laughed. God bless the Qin clan, did everyone see it? This is the fortune of the Qin clan. At the most crucial moment, our fortune is still very strong. Tai Hong also came up. In the history of the 100-leaf Qin clan, this battle was the most satisfying and the most brilliant battle, right? After this battle, those people who had set their eyes on the 100-leaf Qin clan should consider their own strength. Qin Zhonglong also felt that his anger had been vented. Qin Xing turned to look at Qin Wushuang. For an elite warrior like him, even if he felt grateful, he would not show it on his face. He only gave a light sigh. This time, in the end, the 100-leaf Qin clan was able to win because of young Master Wushuang's help. Yes. Qin Bolong also kept on praising Qin Wushuang. Qin Wushuang said with a smile, "Everyone, now is not the time to be happy. Although the main evil, Chun Sun, has been killed, don't forget that there are still some fish that escaped the net." Fish that escaped the net? Qin Bolong was somewhat confused. "We have found the bodies of all the enemies, except for Chun Tong. That Chun Tong must have gone to get reinforcements on behalf of Chun Sun, as I had predicted. This Chun Tong would not be a big deal. If the reinforcements he had brought back were acquainted with Chun Sun, for sure, there would be more to this matter." Qin Wushuang poured a bucket of cold water on them to prevent the people of the 100-leaf Qin clan from getting too excited. Qin Xing said in a low voice, "That's right, if that Chun Tong had truly gone to the dark green cloud Taoist sect to ask for help, for sure, the people he had brought would not be ordinary. For your information, the dark green cloud Taoist sect is unquestionably the #1 major powerhouse in the Orderly Mountain Prefecture. If they had brought elite warriors from the scattered Cloud Taoist sect, this matter would be extremely troublesome. However, Tai Hong said, Master, the dark green Cloud Taoist sect is strong only within the orderly mountain prefecture. In the entire Xian Yuan Mound, the dark green Cloud Taoist sect is only a quasi-second-rate powerhouse. I am afraid they are only a little bit stronger than the third-rate and close to the second-rate level, right? Could it be that they would risk offending the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan and become enemies with the 100-Leaf Qin clan? If it were 3,000 years ago, I am afraid even the lowest branch of the Qin clan would not dare to provoke the dark green Cloud Taoist sect. However, currently, the situation at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain is complicated. The headquarters of the Qin clan is in dire straits, and the position of all the branches of the Qin clan has dropped significantly. It would be another matter to discuss the attitude of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect. Qin Shing had lived for a few hundred years and was used to seeing the ups and downs of the world. The fickleness of the world, when the Qin clan was at its peak, all the Qin clan under the world were high and mighty. Even the most tyrannical powerhouses would not dare to offend the branches of the Qin clan easily. However, now, the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan was in a bad situation. Naturally, the situation faced by all the branches of the Qin clan had also become subtle. Chen Sun is already dead. Even if people of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect had some relationship with Chen Sun, they would not become enemies with the 100-Leaf Qin clan for a dead person. Although the 100-Leaf Qin clan is not as strong as the dark green Cloud Taoist sect, if they were to become enemies with the 100-Leaf Qin clan, they would not have a peaceful life. Being the patriarch of a clan, Qin Bolong also had his own responsibility and boldness as he spoke boldly. Ninth great-uncle, Chen Sun is on par with you. Even if he had some relationship with the people of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect, it would only be between elite warriors at the profound void martial stage. Could it be that he could invite elite warriors at the perfect void martial stage? Perfect void martial stage? Qin Shing laughed mischievously. In the entire dark green Cloud Taoist sect, there would not be more than 3 people at the perfect void martial stage. If he is not at the perfect void martial stage, then we would have more confidence. Tai Hong shouted. Let's not talk about this for now. Clean up the scene and destroy all traces of the battle. When Chen Tong had truly invited elite warriors, we would have enough time to deal with them. This was Qin Belong's idea. However, Qin Wushuang only smiled lightly. Apparently, he had a different opinion. What is young Master Wushuang's opinion? Qin Shing glanced at Qin Wushuang's expression and knew that Qin Wushuang must have some other opinion. At the moment, he asked with a smile. Wushuang's knowledge is shallow. However, I feel that in the current situation, rather than waiting for them to arrive at the castle of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, it would be better to intercept them halfway and make them retreat. If we could kill that Chen Tong and cut off this escape route, even people of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect would not risk their lives for a dead person. Take the initiative to intercept. A trace of astonishment flashed across Qin Belong's eyes. He felt that Qin Wushuang's opinions were always so bold and full of passion. Take the initiative to intercept. Before the elite warriors of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect have spoken, we should take care of everything. By that time, the other party would weigh the pros and cons and would not pursue the matter further. With Chen Xin dead, even if he was willing to risk his life, who would he do this favor to? He could not risk his life for a dead person, right? Even if he had such intentions, Chen Sen's death would not reveal his intentions. Thus, I feel that even if the elite warriors of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect had been invited, they would certainly know how to weigh the pros and cons. I am only afraid that since the elite warriors of the dark green Cloud Taoist sect were willing to come, for sure they had a life and death relationship with Chen Senator after learning that Chen Sin had been killed, I am afraid that they would seek revenge for him out of righteousness. If he had a life and death relationship with Chen Sin, It would not conflict with our plan to intercept him if he were to risk his life. Regardless of whether he would make a move or not, it would not be wrong for us to take the initiative. There is another advantage to taking the initiative. We can avoid provoking the other party after a passive conflict. Once the other party had spoken ruthless words, the situation would not be easy to clean up. We would act first and report later. After the other party had learned about the matter, the general situation would have been set. Since Chun Sen is dead, why would he take the risk of going against the Heavenly Emperor Qin clan and fight to the death with the 100-Leaf Qin clan for a so-called friendship? When Qin Shing heard up to this point, he also deeply agreed as he nodded. Indeed, regardless of whether the other party has come to risk his life or not, we will take the initiative and avoid being led by the nose by the other party. Or else, when the other party comes to challenge us before the city gate of the 100-Leaf Qin clan, for sure they would use the big buttocks of the dark green cloud Taoist sect to suppress us. If that's the case, it would be a great blow to the morale of the 100-Leaf Qin clan. The one who strikes first gains the advantage. Regardless of fighting or not, we will take the initiative. When we take the initiative, we will have more freedom if we want to fight or make peace, advance or retreat. Qin Wushuang added. Qin Shing made the decision. Okay, let's do it this way. The Wild Goose Mountain peak outside the 100-Leaf State Pass is the only way for the dark green cloud Taoist sect to enter the 100-Leaf State. Young Master Wushuang, are you interested in going with me? Qin Shing asked with a smile. Qin Wushuang said gladly. Since Senior Qin Shing has invited me, how could I decline? I am afraid that I would drag you down with my weak strength. Haha, no need for a young man to be modest. You have such strength at such a young age. In less than 20 years, for sure, Qin Wushuang will have a place in the Xian Yuan Mound. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please log on to www.chidian.com. More chapters, support the author, support the original reading. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.